Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 4th anniversary stream of Studio Reverie and our first day starting Arc 6. I'm super excited to start this up with all of you. We have a really cool group of people here, and we have even more cool people joining us later. Without further ado, I'm going to get them on here. We're going to introduce ourselves, and we are going to get started. Okay, let's see if this this setup works. All right, hello, guys. Can you hear me? Let's see if it works on stream. Yes!
Hello.
Hello.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary, everybody. Woo!
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Hope you're having great days.
Yay!
Yes.
All right, we're going to
It's
get
a joyous occasion.
a joyous day. We're going to get ourselves started with starting with Al, number one Stan.
Hello. I am Al number one Stan, or Al for short. I am obviously the Al number one Stan. I am not going to be a voice today. I am going to be a live Al reaction sort of guy.
Woohoo!
I'm Connor, or Palazard. I'm one of the hosts of the ReZero podcast here on Studio Reverie, and I'm going to be voicing Julius and reprising my previous live role as Rom today.
Yay!
Yes. And I am Gold. I'm also one of the hosts of the ReZero podcast, and today I'll just be narrating.
Yay! Drad, you can go back in too.
Hello everyone, I'm Drad, I'm the voice of Heinkel, and the most wonderful Patrash. Today I'll just be reacting, I'm afraid.
Yay!
Hello, I'm Greenward291, Greenie for short. I am one of the editors, but I'm here as an analyst. An analysis
Yes!
person.
Hello, I am Carmen. I'm another one of the editors, as well as tonight's voice of Melee and the lovely Gluttony later on.
Yay! I'm Kyles McGiles, your one and only Emilia, and I'm going to be voicing a couple others. I'm going to take this moment to quickly explain some things. These are the live recordings, so we're going to record live, of course. It's going to be different from our old live reads. We're going to have no music. We're going to have backgrounds pacing through, and the final version of the chapters will be posted with the actual voice actors. I will also be playing Anastasia for the live recordings, but Ali has returned to us to play Anastasia. We'll also have other voice actors that we mentioned. Kiki's not here today, so Tialdi will be taking Betty's place, but we'll be replacing our voices with the original VA at the end. So that was my little tidbit. Next up.
My name is Ben. You guys may know me as C Tactics. I think I've been on this channel once or twice before, and
so.
I'm just going to be here for analysis and stuff like that, and it's great to be here.
And the original creator of the ReZero podcast that we took over.
Yeah.
Yay!
I don't know what you're talking about.
Tail,
That was
you're
a
next.
long time ago.
Hey
Those were the
everybody,
salad
I
days.
am Tealdi. I am going to be narrating. I am going to be Frederica, and I will be standing in for Beatrice today, so please forgive any squeakiness.
Pachi Pachi!
Hello, I am Unseen Hand. I am one of the main artists for Reverie, and I will be narrating Chapter 3.
If all of you saw the commercial I made, you saw the Pleiades Watchtower, and that was made by Unseen Hand. Isn't it gorgeous?
That's my favorite piece that you've done so far, Unseen, as well. I love it.
It's amazing.
Yes.
So pretty.
Yeah, I saw your reactions. I was really honored. Yeah, I think it's good too. Yeah.
Yay! Last but not least, Wolf, take it away.
Hello everyone, I'm Wolf. I am your Subaru. I'm also the third and final host of the ReZero podcast here on Studio Reverie. I'm really excited to get into today. I think for a lot of us, this has been a day many have waited for. So I'm really excited to get into this. Let's full send it, guys!
Yay!
Yeah, long awaited is right. When I first started watching this channel, like you guys were doing Arc 5, it was just a point of, oh man, this is great. I really hope I can stick around for them to do Arc 6 too.
And look at you now, infiltrated.
The gang's all here.
So here. And it's gonna
Had
be
to make sure it
bigger.
happened.
And thank God it did, because I didn't think it would. Once we hit the Liliana chapters, I thought that was game over, done, it for me. I
This is the
tried.
end.
I groveled to
I
get rid
can't
of this
take it
channel.
anymore.
But now I'm
Blast
not
you,
getting rid of
Bill.
it. So y'all missed your chance. All right. That being said, do we all have our chapters ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna hopefully get to the right scene. Yes! All right, so what's gonna happen here is this is our recording space for the live recordings. You're gonna just see the backgrounds so I can help out the editors in the final version. So I'll be switching backgrounds around as you've all requested for years. Just gonna test something. Oh, perfect, it works. As we move through this chapter, it'll be switching consistently. So that's a heads up. You won't be able to see the chat. I've turned off the alerts. So if anybody super chats, subscribes, a member, we will thank you in between the chapters. But other than that, do you guys have any questions before we get started? Are we good to rock and roll?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I am set and ready to go. Just as a heads up for the audience, though, if you are following along on Witch Cult, it is going to be a little different. I have made a couple adjustments, as we said, some of which was done almost out of style or preference for the character speaking, just to make it sound more in character for them. Others were actual errors or a couple of mistakes we found, and a few of them were decisions that we made as a crew just to stick with. And we'll make notes of them if they come up as being a big deal or not. But in general, this is still Witch Cult's original piece. I have just taken the extra effort to proofread it beyond that, and hopefully make it a better experience for all of you at home, too.
Yes. Connor's worked really hard to make sure it's easy for us as voice actors to read.
Looks like we may have had an
actually-
audio glitch.
Yeah, they're glitching out on the stream.
Me?
Well, I think I heard Connor for sure.
All right, test. Hello, 1 2 1 2.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you all hear us? Me and
No?
Wolf?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Yes.
Oh, weird.
Hello? Wait a minute.
But we come out as odd on the stream, I think, like metallic and tinny.
Interesting. You guys do or me?
Mm.
Okay, hold on. My dog. 1 sec. Sierra knocked something.
Okay, I see what's going on, and we sound like robots.
Okay, yeah, I definitely listened, and everyone except for Kyle's and Wolf have
Yeah.
some strange audio.
Hello, I am a soulless robot.
Can you hear me now?
The uprising has begun. You are all powerless to stop us.
ReZero,
How's
chapter
this
3.
sound now? I hear. Hello?
Hello?
Can you
Sorry
hear
for
me?
this.
Please stream to catch up, I suppose.
So, like, you're coming through perfectly fine, Kyle's. Like, it's not you or Wolf, it's your Discord call is sounding weird on stream.
Interesting. Una memento. Oh! I know why.
Okay.
And,
Test,
Unseen,
test.
would you mind going on mute until we start the discussions? Your fans picking up again from your PC.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'll do that.
I know.
Robotic voice test.
How's this, everybody? This should be a bit better. I figured it out. Test. Everyone speak.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Testing.
Hello.
Bless you.
The robot from the back.
Thank you. All right, can y'all hear that now? I had 2 audio channels on, that's why.
Ah.
Yeah, 2 audio channels, and we had some reverb in the back, that's why.
Okay, yeah, that's better.
Thank you,
Super
everybody.
fixed on it. Yep, it's better.
Could you
Hey,
imagine?
we're
we
human
s-
again.
Yeah, we started that chapter. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
List of voice bugs on the Excel sheet. All of them, actually. The time that is the entire stream.
Thing.
You
Just
know what?
doing
I tried so hard to be professional for once for a stream, and I couldn't fucking do it anyways.
It's okay.
Who's
Bye,
our-
Thank you,
reset, bye,
chat,
reset.
for letting us know.
Thank you,
We
chat.
really appreciate you getting on that as fast as you did.
Please
This
let
is
us.
the birth of the controversy that we use all AI voices.
Oh
Hello,
God!
Subaru.
I'm not real.
We're robots.
Oh.
Hello, everybody. My name is Subaru.
Hello, Subaru. My name is Emilia.
Amelia and
What's the funny thing?
Subaru
Ooh, ooh.
looked into each other's eyes longingly.
And then all of a sudden they ran away
You know-
really fast into the road, and then they went back to here.
You know what's the funny thing? Before you guys started with with the audio drama, I actually had to listen to ReZero's web novel because it was a way to manage my time better, and the only thing I had available was like a text to speech version of it on YouTube.
Oh, that
just like
version. Oh, okay, I know
ReZero.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Known TTS.
Yeah. So thank you, Reverie, for giving me something else. Like a different.
That's what we try to do.
It's not
That's what
bad.
we're here for.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It
Real
was
authentic
especially-
human voice.
That being said,
Yeah, real.
should we
Yeah.
beat up those AI bots and start?
Heck
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right, narrator Kun, you are ready.
Take us.
I'm ready as I'll ever be. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, hi.
All right. Arc 6, Chapter 1. The Dragon Carriage's Way Back. Natsuki Subaru's group continued to head directly east upon leaving the city of Pristella. They were heading towards the eastern edge of the world, the area in which the Agoria sand dunes were contained, a plot of land with a rich history of having the witch beasts that have existed there for hundreds of years reject every existence from stepping foot onto their territory. It contained miasma that could cause travelers to lose their sense of direction and gnaw at their hearts. It contained groups of witch beasts as evil vanguards, indulging themselves in devouring human lives. And then there was the person who sought world peace, the person at the Watchtower who determined each and every one of the successes and failures made by those who came close. That person was the sage, Shala.
Knowing that alone, it feels like we're lining up for suicide.
Just being reminded of the obstacles that were ahead was enough to cause dejection. In reality, those that journeyed towards this place, while fully knowing what awaited them, were perhaps beings like suicidal people, or perhaps witch cultists. At any rate, it seemed like they were nothing but people with brain abnormalities. However, these people were neither of the above, and possessed no intention to die. It was rather the opposite. They intended to live. They would provide a path of life to each and every one of the people who had lost their way of living. They had begun this expedition in order to obtain this seed of hope.
Nevertheless, it's strange.
While imagining the shaking of the unshakable dragon carriage, Subaru whispered these words to the faces in front of them. Hearing that, every single one of them turned their eyes towards Subaru. A total of 4 glances came his way. Adding in Subaru to the other people in his carriage would make for a final sum of 5 passengers. That was what the situation looked like.
Strange? Did something happen?
No, it's nothing important, Emilia-tan. It's just, well, it's just that I feel it's quite unexpected for all of these faces to be sharing the same dragon carriage and getting along so well.
Subaru responded this way as he brushed off Emilia's question. To Subaru's right and left, securing both his sides, were Emilia and Beatrice. These were his allies. It was a given that these two would be with Subaru. The problem was the two in front of them.
Well, it may be formal for you to feel like that. Actually, I thought it was really surprising too. So it'd be natural for Natsuki-kun to feel uncomfortable, huh?
Ah, that is correct.
The person who let out a high-pitched laughter and spoke with a Kansai dialect, or rather, Kararagi dialect, was Anastasia. After a reply in her not Kansai dialect, she gazed towards him with a meaningful look while feeling her hair.
Though, if we're gonna talk exclusively about being uncomfortable, I ain't so sure you can beat Julius-san here.
How harsh. However, please do not worry. I am also a knight at heart. Just a single night is enough for me to adjust my heart. Not to mention that a few days have already passed. I promise to never show a slight similar to shamefulness that I displayed the other day, ever again.
So graceful. I'll be taking your word on it then.
Julius bowed in response to Anastasia's banter-like remark, just as he would have done before. That wasn't surprising. He had indeed been damaged by the authority of gluttony, but to be specific, he had borne effects on everyone around his person rather than on himself. Thus, the people that had changed their behavior had been his friends rather than himself. He could not conceal just how upset he was upon receiving these reactions, but as he himself had just stated, he seemed to have accepted it with ease.
You're outrageous.
Although he couldn't voice it, Subaru felt it was worthy of praise. That strength of spirit, Subaru commended it. It was not as if Subaru was unfamiliar with the feeling he was feeling as well, the feeling of having your own existence being left behind, having nobody around that shared his own memories. Natsuki Subaru, as he was able to go back in time with Turn by Death, definitely possessed recollections of worlds that nobody else remembered. If he were to recall a single experience in which he had built up relationships only to have them lost, Subaru reconsidered the first Roswaal mansion and his repeated days there. He had been summoned to another world, had struggled at the world capital with his objective of helping Emilia, and then as a result, he had been invited to Roswaal's mansion. He then proceeded to experience 4 iterations of events before stepping foot into the 5th world. The memory of the 4 worlds up until then were held within Subaru and nowhere else. Even now, it was difficult to forget the shock he had experienced from being treated as a stranger by the very same people whom he had built relationships with during these days at the mansion. The pain and sadness would never fade away.
What is it, I suppose? Subaru, why have you suddenly started petting Betty's head, in fact?
Don't worry about it. It's just... I'm deeply emotional by the fact you seriously saved me back then. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't understand, I suppose. Although, my hair is getting messed up, so stop. You don't have to stop, but pet it just a little softer, in fact.
Beatrice tilted her head towards Subaru as she sat in the seat only half an ass away, just like she had requested of him. Subaru delivered some pats to her head, not allowing him to forget his state of mind at the time he was truly saved. The only person whose feelings towards Subaru did not change during the loop of days at the mansion was Beatrice. They had met before Return by Death's save point, so, after that, she remained as the only person whose manner of coming into contact with Subaru did not alter. Moreover, the way he had been saved would also stay secret to her for a long, long time.
After that, Emilia-tan saved me, huh?
Emilia made a curious face in response to Subaru's reminiscence. Subaru's right here, right now, because he had been saved by her kindness, voice, attitude, as well as the warmth of the lap that she had lent him. That was why Subaru was able to recognize how impressive it was for Julius had actually accomplished it all on his lonesome. It had taken so much help, and so many times, 4 times worth of time in fact, for Subaru to overcome what Julius had. Or maybe it was because a certain someone was there to lend him a helping hand. A certain someone that was forgotten by Anastasia. A certain someone that did not seek help from anyone in his own camp. A certain someone who had his ties severed with the quasi-spirits whom he contracted with. A certain someone that did not recall his blood brother either. If that were the case, then he would be grateful.
You've been staring at people's faces for quite a while now. Is there something wrong, Subaru?
Nothing's wrong. I was just thinking that it's not pleasant to see you smiling with such elegance after someone calls you graceful.
Graceful and with elegance. That pair have a splendid sound. I never expected I would receive praise from you. It is pleasantly surprising. Or no, that may be an exaggeration. Let's see. Typical?
I didn't mean to praise you! And hearing you say that pisses me off!
In the same tone as before, or rather, without being as glib, Subaru changed his approach. The evident frailness on his face back when in his brother's hospital room at Pristella had been hard to digest. Subaru had recollections of that time, when a lack of satisfaction was evident in his expression, prompting Subaru to complain. However, all that seemed like completely forgotten history now.
You and Julius get along. Were you like this before you are the way you are now?
Emilia-tan, you've got it wrong. There is no way me and this guy get along well. Did you see my face? I can't see it, but it's the worst it's ever been.
Really? I don't think you're right, but... Oh, I'm not talking about the way you look. I'm talking about you two getting along so well. Subaru's eyes were the same as ever. They're really scary.
The same as ever? Really scary?
Well, for me, I like Subaru's eyes. I'm being truthfully truthful.
Damn it! How I wish that part about my eyes was cut out from the audio recording.
Emilia let out a wry smile as she filled Subaru with regret. She then turned towards Julius with an inquisitive look, causing him to take a glance towards Subaru.
I myself have no room to deny those words. In reality, to say that he and I are close would not be the most correct statement. Although, in my eyes, we are compromising with each other, despite how things may look.
To put it as compromising, that's already condescending. Humble down there a bit. It's gonna piss me off even more.
What an abrasive point of view. Can you tell him that too?
Julius sought Emilia's agreement on the matter, but she reacted to their exchanges by brushing up her hair and...
Just as I thought. You're really close, right?
Come on, it should already be clear.
Well, I guess you are close then.
There was a slight disagreement with Emilia, but Subaru and Julius acted as if nothing had happened. This made Emilia become more and more baffled. Anastasia tried to restrain herself from laughing, letting out chuckles with a smile. Anastasia's reaction caused Julius to suddenly loosen his lips, as if indicating that he had calmed down. That transient master-servant relationship was hardly strange to Subaru, being someone who's familiar with the other side of it. The Anastasia at hand differed from the genuine Anastasia Hoshin, and was a fake, merely sharing the same exterior. Anastasia's body was currently being used by the artificial spirit Echidna, otherwise known as Eridna. This so-called Eridna had no intentions of taking over her body, but he was unsure of how much he could trust her. Being someone who was aware of the situation, the only thing that Subaru did not fail to do was to prevent those unaware of the situation, like Emilia and Julius, from realizing it.
Subaru, cut it out, in fact.
Beatrice called out to Subaru, who was surely in a state of deep thought. This girl's hair was in a messy state, as Subaru was petting her head all throughout this period of silence. Her cute face had a sour look.
Oh, my bad, Mayako. Your cute appearance is a mess. Your hair's all botched now.
Perhaps you shouldn't make it sound like Betty's cuteness is ruined from just her hairdo, I suppose. Moreover, your face is starting to look scary, in fact.
Half an ass away from Subaru, Beatrice spoke while frankly fixing her messed up hair with her hands. Subaru let out an "oh," preventing himself from talking, as Beatrice held a face that made it look like she thought him helpless.
There's no point in making such an excessive worrisome face, I suppose. Betty will take care of it, in fact. If something happens, Betty will notice it much faster than Subaru, I suppose.
Yeah.
Beatrice spoke these words in response to Subaru's anxiety. Beatrice, the other person besides Subaru who was aware of Eridna and how she was replacing Anastasia. Originally, Subaru had promised to keep it secret for two reasons. First, to avoid causing any unnecessary commotion about it. Second, because Eridna had claimed to have no intentions to snatch control of Anastasia's body. However, Beatrice would be the only one to realize if something happened, albeit belatedly. They both are the same type of artificial spirit, two being sharing a relationship with the witch Echidna. If it seemed like Eridna was planning something, Beatrice would surely sense it. Although, if he were to consider Beatrice's emotions, he did not feel like it was very advisable for Beatrice to get involved with Echidna, but...
Putting your unnecessary suspicions aside, it's fine that Subaru acted like Subaru and sought help from anybody without caring about who it was. Just like you always have, instead of worrying about it alone, in fact. Though, you came to Betty first, I suppose. I'll give you my praise this time for that, in fact.
That was her response, so that was that.
I see it.
Just when he thought the dragon carriage had fallen into a state of silence, Emilia suddenly whispered these words. It seemed that Emilia had seen their destination afar as she gazed out the window of the dragon carriage. Subaru also understood that the view of the window was changing into familiar scenery.
What a nostalgic road. We'll arrive at Roswaal's mansion soon, huh?
He murmured these words, first making sure to restrain his feelings from being near their first checkpoint, remembering their original goal. This group's destination, as mentioned before, were the Agoria sand dunes, the place where they would seek to consult Sage Shala. However, they had already managed to stop by Roswaal's mansion on the way, as to prepare for their trip and to make a stop in their long expedition. There were many things that they wanted to talk to the fellow camp members about, including the incident at Pristella and the occasion of getting to speak with the sage. Also, moreover,
It's not just a simple stop.
there was meaning in dropping by Roswaal's mansion before beginning their expedition to meet the sage. When looking at the big picture, its meaning would be meager and small to the world. However, through Natsuki Subaru's small, human eyes, it possessed great potential. Subaru squinted his eyes to envision the Roswaal mansion, so distant that he could not yet be seen. Each of the 4 people inside the dragon carriage were looking at Subaru. Various emotions were held by the colors of their eyes, but Subaru had no composure to take notice of any of their glances. When the dragon carriage arrived at Roswaal's mansion, more than 1 hour had gone by past noon. The long migration from the city of Pristella, which had taken about 10 days, went on a temporary hold.
Subaru!
Oh! Petra! What?
They rode the ground dragons towards Roswaal Mansion, gave their thanks to the coachman, and then got off the carriage. A petite maid rushed towards Subaru from the mansion and jumped at him with unrestrained force. She came into his chest with might and force, and Subaru somehow managed to catch her while backing up. He then petted the head of the girl who had flown into his arms.
Petra! If you do that so suddenly, you'll startle me, you know. I've been gone for nearly a month now. How have you been?
I've been fine, as you can tell. However, Subaru, Sama, has been having it rough, right? I've been worried ever since that letter came in 2 days ago. You were injured so much again, right? Can you handle the pain?
Embarrassing! Embarrassing!
Petra touched Subaru's body to confirm his pain as her reddish-brown colored hair swung back and forth. As Subaru reacted to this with a wry smile, while the others got off the dragon carriage.
Hey, Petra, do your job as a maid of the mansion properly. If you don't, Ram and Frederica will get mad at you.
Right. Tell me about what happened later.
They had only just returned, and Petra's credibility has already been undermined. Petra's worry would be inevitable if he told her about how he got involved in what seemed to have been a city-wide uproar to try and obtain the crystal. It wasn't as though Super had intended to get into trouble with the witch's cult, but that excuse would be meaningless. It was true that most of the witch cult's purposes were related to Emilia's camp.
Welcome, guests. Compliments to your effort to make this long trip. I am Petra Lete, a maid of this residence. I will be your guide towards the mansion.
Subaru's recollections were put aside, and then Petra let out a vocal message coupled with a dignified gesture. Julius took Anastasia's hand to help her descend the carriage, and they both had looks of admiration on their faces. Also visible were somewhat prideful looks on Emilia's and Beatrice's faces.
You're quite the well-behaved child, even though you're a little, huh? You're being thorough with your training.
She certainly seems almost like a different person compared to when she jumped at Subaru.
How embarrassing.
Julius agreed with a smiling Anastasia, and then Petra's face grew redder and redder from the remarks. Julius looked down at her, then proceeded to look at Subaru, and...
I see. I understand the reason why you were given the moniker of Lowlymancer.
I will have you know, Petra isn't as small as a little girl, and even if you call me that, the only lolly I will mance is Bearco. Get your facts straight.
Betty also isn't a girl that works hard to be used by Subaru at his convenience, I suppose. Subaru, you should get your facts straight as well, in fact.
Subaru replied to Julius' banter in a cold way, and then Beatrice rebuked Subaru in an even more glacial manner. Subaru fell silent, his mouth turned into a frown, and Beatrice let out a sigh. She then looked at Petra's lower area. She stood beside her, and then made a slight movement to grab onto the edge of the skirt of the other's maid outfit.
Also, look, not much has changed throughout Betty and Petra's time, I suppose. Wait a second. Betty feels like Petra has grown a bit, in fact. Her hair has grown a bit too, I suppose.
It's because 1 month has passed. And it's also my growth period right now. I will grow, and my hair will grow too, if I don't cut it. Beatrice-chan will stay small, though.
What the heck, in fact?
Petra smiled as she hugged an astonished Beatrice tightly, continuing to embrace the pouty-faced Beatrice for a sufficient amount of time. She then walked away, saying,
Well then, allow me to guide you all.
All right, we'll finally be going to the...
He sought to follow her, but then someone's hand grabbed onto the back of his collar. Upon raising a choked voice, he looked back, only to be surprised by the fact that Emilia was the one who'd reached out to his scruff. Emilia jerked Subaru's chin while holding onto the back of his neck, and directed him towards the carriage behind him.
Subaru, Patrash doesn't seem to be happy. Tis has become a selfish affair, huh?
If one were to throw their gaze towards the ground dragons as per Emilia's point, out of the two that they traveled with, it would be noticeable that the beautiful, jet-black ground dragon was glaring at Subaru with frightfully piercing eyes. She was Subaru's beloved dragon, Patrash. When Subaru tried to return her look, she turned away bluntly, then letting out a light but very displeased sound.
You seriously weren't able to make up with her? Even though you had 10 days, huh?
Yeah, I know. But I really don't think it's my fault this time.
Subaru scratched his head as he thought of what to do with Patrache, who was leaning onto his belly. Ever since they left the city of Pristella, Patrache had been giving Subaru the cold shoulder. A bit before that, actually. When he had gone to the Ground Dragon stable to pick her up, once the defensive battle against the witch cult was done and dusted, she was already in a bad mood. He didn't talk to Patrache, as Otto was out of commission because of injuries. However, he had a long-standing relationship with Patrache. It was about time that Subaru found out what his beloved dragon was so angry about.
Oh, that's well. I know I neglected her during the uproar, and that I even made her feel lonely. But...
Subaru was on the very end of his statement when Patrache lashed out her tail at him, dealing a direct hit and causing him to end up in the dirt. As expected, Patrache had no mercy in her aggressive response. If he were to reply to her in a deceitful way, she would come to strike him without hesitation.
I would never expected it. To think that I was able to avoid Regulus's attacks before, but can't avoid this. It's just...
Are you alright? Patrash decided to suddenly wave her tail again. Doesn't this mean that you'll get hit once more if you don't say the right thing?
Emilia made the terrifying point as she went on one knee to lend him a hand. He looked at Patrache, and she certainly was there shaking her long tail. She sliced through the air with the end of her tail as if to threaten Subaru. It felt like she was saying that she'd double the power for each mistake he'd make. He unconsciously lost the ability to speak properly, and his throat became cramped, realizing he couldn't afford to reply carelessly.
Even if you're careless like that, your ground dragon has an overwhelming amount of sympathy towards you.
However, that statement made by Julius, who was disheartened by the guide's lack of success, would cause the undesirable effect that she would come at Subaru. Subaru pointed at himself and Patrache in response to Julius's argument, and...
Really? I'm kind of covered in all this dirt, you know? You call this sympathy?
Can you not even feel the proof of deep affection with your own eyes? She is a kind-hearted ground dragon. She is mostly aggravated that she was unable to help you during that turmoil, and she is angry at you for not seeking her help. So it might just be indignance rather than anger towards you.
What are you saying? Just how high are you going to make her heroin power? Stop it!
The level of correctness of Julius's points was unknown, but at the very least, his words made Patrache's tail swing come to an end. Subaru looked at Patrache once again, and she turned away just like always, but...
Looking at her now, it seems like she's somewhat embarrassed after hearing that.
Emilia-tan, you noticed that too? I noticed too. It makes my heart flutter. So don't do that too often, please, Patrache.
He said these words, reached out nervously with his hand, and then Patrache finally lowered her head, allowing Subaru to touch her body covered with tough scales. And with this, it seemed like the Cold War, where he had 10 days to make amends, ended on a good note.
Isn't that enough? Is everything fine now?
Petra was letting her impatience show through her shouts, as they continued to remain at the mansion's front gate without paying attention to the time. She had come out here having been instructed to guide them, and yet they were still taking so much time.
If we don't return soon, Ram Nesuma will get mad again and...
If you can worry about such things, that means you were just a little bit short on your efforts.
Petra, who had been making light sounds with her footsteps, let out a shriek and then strained her back due to that voice. Upon turning back, she saw a pink-haired maid far away, coming from the direction of the mansion. It was Ram. No mistakes nor doubt about it. Ram slowly turned her gaze towards Subaru's group, and the guest after Petra went as still as a stone statue because of her glare, and...
I thought that Petra had gotten better at her tasks, and just as she was about to be recognized for it, this happened. Ram is very disappointed.
Sorry, Ram Nesuma. You were about to recognize me for my work?
Yes, your cooking is better than Ram's, your cleaning is more sensible than Ram's. You're better at doing laundry than Ram, and you wake up earlier than Ram, so I was close to recognizing you.
You should have more self-doubt when you point these things out.
Just how bad was the veteran maid in comparison with this girl's who had 1 year of experience as a maid under her belt? Even if one were to take into account Petra's ability to learn quickly, the hurdle was so low that it wasn't even worth mentioning. In response to his shout, Ram snorted her nose with a ha in a way that Subaru was completely familiar with, and...
How does one proceed to have doubt about oneself? Ram only holds expectations and self-confidence for herself.
I always felt like that part about you is the only thing that deserves respect.
Subaru thus responded to Ram's majestic declaration while being astounded. In reality, there was reason to emulate Ram's optimism, or rather, there's reason in emulating her fortitude. He just wished that she would have a bit more self-reflection, but...
If you did that, I think it wouldn't really feel like you'd be the real Ram, huh?
That is a scary thought. Moreover, I do not think it would be ideal to leave guests out here for so long. Let us hurry up and enter the mansion.
Subaru agreed with Ram's dismissive words. They had taken too much time outside the mansion. It wouldn't be surprising for Fred Erica to even Roswaal to show up eventually if they wasted any more time. The royal candidates and the Margrave were all to gather here to talk about what they would be doing.
Is Roswaal at the mansion proper right now?
Ram, who had begun walking to guide the others, tapped Petra's shoulder to relieve her stiffness. At Emilia's call from behind, Ram replied with a yes, without taking a look back.
Fortunately, he was sojourning at this residence when the letter arrived, so he has remained here. There was a summary in the letter about the Pristella affair. There should be details to discuss.
Yeah, there should be, considering a lot of things did happen.
The number of people here now in comparison to when you first left has changed, huh? Did Garth and Otto die?
Like hell I'd let them die! They aren't dead! They're just coming back home later because of their injuries!
Just as Subaru was about to breach the topic of the letter, his charge was countered. Ram let out a shrug with an indifferent manner in response.
I am all too familiar with the depths of men who lack composure. Barasu, especially, is one that is an open hole from which the contents of its depths are being poured out, so you should be careful. To have people become aware of your depths and then finding out you are empty inside is the worst.
Oh, that really hurts, so cut it out! Also, more importantly...
A letter had been sent to the mansion prior to Subaru and the others' departure. If the contents of the letter had been shared, then it should be clear the return was not just a return. Therefore, when Subaru attempted to confirm the contents of the second half of the letter, and upon choosing the words he would say, Ram readily raised her finger.
I told you, didn't I? Rest assured, Roswaal-sama is at this mansion. Also, preparations have been made for both the Sleeping Beauty and the confinement room. Although...
Ram cut off her words towards Subaru at the end and then gently licked her lips. She wet her lips with the red tip of her tongue, with a gesture that had a sense of gracefulness embellished somewhere in it, and then said,
Although neither of them were Ram's doings. It was Frederica and Petra's job.
Why did you make such a prideful face there?
In any case, even after a whole month had passed since they had just last met, well, that was just the way she was.
Pachi, pachi, pachi.
Woo!
Woo!
I'm sorry for taking your line, Wolf. I just got really into it, you know? Thank God Common is timestamping.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Man, I love how I was changing Ram and Rom in between the sentence because I was like confused who was saying what. I was like Ram, Rom. I was like,
It's interchangeable, like Patricia and Patrash. Like people can tell what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
trying to say.
I fucked the trash several times.
you what? Fine. It's fine.
You what?
I don't-
Sorry.
Hey yo. No, I'm joking.
I ain't into that. I ain't into ground dragons.
Oh,
I don't know
no.
if this was coming through to the stream or if it was just the Discord sound effect for it. But Wolf, some of your screams are peaking the mic. On
Yeah,
our
they're
end.
peaking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Oh, it
That
works
one
on my
line-
end, so it's okay.
Okay, yeah. Chat was saying that
okay.
Wolf's mic must be incredible. So I was assuming that it sounded fine live, but
Oh my gosh, having a dual like interface, I can control when I know he's gonna scream. I turn that shit all the way up. I crank it, and then I've been adjusting on the side. I feel like a full ass hacker. That's why I kind of fucked up a few spots. But hey,
It-
I'm glad the mic sounds good.
I'm only comfortable doing this because I like. Sorry if it peaks on your guys' end, but I promise it's gonna sound good in the final.
It sounds great on my end.
It's funny you're peaking, honestly.
It was really funny. It sounded like Subaru was glitching out for a second.
He's like
It
so
sounded like
angry.
Subaru was actually dying.
The final boss.
It's like,
is
hey,
great.
Subaru is getting so into his emotions are so great that they're destroying the boundaries of the universe itself. Like, can't contain
Fabric of existence.
You can't contain me.
the scream.
Hard work. All right.
I just want to say,
I'm
by the
gonna
way,
let you guys do your analysis now.
Oh.
Take it away. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say, Connor, your Ram voice is amazing. I did not.
It's great!
Like I was kind of.
Oh,
It is
blown away.
amazing.
Did some great
Really,
work.
really good.
Extremely haughty,
Also,
which is perfect.
yeah.
she's
hey,
one of my
Aldi-
favorites.
Oh, go ahead. Go. Sorry.
I've mimicked her a lot just when I'm alone, just because I like repeating her lines of the actual show.
It paid off.
And favors in
funny
return.
because
Taildy,
your
you
TLD
crushed
voice
it
is like really
as.
spot on.
Oh yeah, yeah. As Betty, you crushed it.
I love
Yay,
that.
Thank you.
I love listening to that. Biko
Yay!
performance is good.
Ben, tell us your thoughts. You haven't finished season 3 yet. What are you feeling about this?
I have based on what I could gather, I have really no idea besides some of the character relationships. That's the only thing that I can kind of really follow along with. Like, you know, for example, the Subaru and Biko interactions of like, hey, Biko's the only girl for me, stuff like that. But otherwise, I'm like, what?
What is happening? Where are you in season
I just heard
3?
things stated. It was just, huh?
Yeah.
I am on. Where am I? I think I'm on like episode 2 or 3 of part 2 of season 3.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so episode like 10.
But I
So there's-
think I've read much further than that, and the light novel Wolf would know more about that.
Yeah,
than I would.
we read up to like the Regulus content, I believe.
Okay.
This content.
Okay, so there's
That's-
still a
that's-
couple spoilers in here for you then.
Yeah,
there
Like
are.
the Julius stuff, mainly.
The Julius and the
Oh my
Arinda.
fucking god! I said it was a small spoiler, and then I gave you that. Oh, I'm sorry, Ben.
Oh no, it's totally fine. I don't mind ReZero spoilers. My relationship with this series is complicated.
Yes.
There
say the
are.
least.
But we
So
appreciate
when it
you
comes
now.
to ReZero spoilers, there's like the I kind of wish I would have read that like live, but it doesn't really affect it. And then there's like 2 or 3 ones where it's just the point of this changes the entire perspective as you are reading up
Yeah,
to it.
this changes the course of the story as a whole.
Yeah. Like
And luckily, we're
there's
pretty
a
far off.
huge one that GoldenEye had gotten spoiled on for much later in the story, and we just got Wolf's reaction to it yesterday for the podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited to see that.
Oh, I think I know which one it is.
Yeah, it's that one.
A hint of what it is.
It's
Those
End
who
of
know.
Arcade.
End of Arcade, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've never
okay.
seen
Yeah.
Wolf absolutely lose his mind until yesterday when he finished it, and he's like, "You go upstairs. I don't need you to hear this podcast." And I was like, "Okay." I'll go upstairs. Shit, you just had to say please.
Please get away from me. I have to be alone.
I have to scream into my mic and you cannot hear.
I was
you cannot
pissed.
hear.
Yes.
Translations are in the chat. Hello everyone. We see you. I'm gonna link Witch Cult translations. We'll start with Arc 6. We are not reading from Witch Cult specifically. We took the Witch Cult's translation version of the chapter, and then Connor went in and fixed it so it was a bit easier for voice actors to read on the fly. So we have a slightly different like a second round of proofread chapter. I will try to post those later on. I just got to figure out how we want to go about that. But for now, I'll add the web novel link.
After we finish getting these proofread, and honestly, this one was just a point of I needed a little bit of extra time this morning to get the last of them done. We'll have them posted and like hosted on the Discord for like a viewing version on the Google Drive, similar to how we did for Arc 2. But the versions that we'll be reading are ones that I took the liberty of checking some translations, fixing some dialogue, a couple editing, and just formatting mistakes, keeping the tense consistent, etc. Minor things in the grand scheme of it, but it makes it a bit easier to read and easier to hear most of all. 'Cause you can't like go back and recheck a paragraph if you're listening to it.
True. Version of... Now, I guess we should fill people in if they're coming in from season 3 of all the things that have changed if people are jumping ahead. So I guess we should hit the key spoilers of Julius, Anastasia, what happened at the end of Pristella.
That's a good idea
Julius
for
and
context.
Anastasia.
Yeah,
So-
spoiler alert.
Where we last see Julius in the anime, he and Ricardo are fighting against Roy, I believe, Roy Alfard, as one of the
Roy.
combatants for gluttony. And unfortunately for them, that fight does not end well for Julius. He does the typical knight thing of announcing who he is before engaging in a fight, and that costs him his name.
Well, it's even before that. It's implied that Joshua, his brother, has had his name eaten.
Yes.
You're
Or
right,
memories
yes.
eaten, and so Julius gives his name because Roy kind of implies that he already knows Julius's name.
You're right, yes. He gives it up. Super's the only one that remembers him. And he gets they get to the point of thinking, well, we have a bunch of people we need to fix from Lust's transformations. We want to fix Rem, and we have to fix Julius, and a bunch of other people who are hurt in the city as well. So they decide to go to the supposed sage, Shala, in the Pleiades Watchtower, far beyond the Auguria sand dunes to the easternmost part of Lagunica.
Now, for a bit of context that they add on there, Reinhard once tried to get through those sand dunes to the Watchtower and failed.
He could not make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, the difficulties will be explained in the chapters coming up, but it's very hard to reach. Anastasia was also damaged within the battle at Pristella, within Arc 5. And so a little artificial spirit, just like Puck and Beatrice are, that she has around her, that still goes by the name Echidna and has her voice, is now almost possessing her body, almost like puppeting her as the scarf around her, in order to give off the appearance that she's fine and normal.
All the selection candidates are just having it rough, man.
Pristella's fine.
Yeah, I'd argue one is doing fine.
One is doing fine. Amelia's like chilling.
Felt is okay-ish.
Felt
is starting on a lower level and is getting caught up to everyone
Yeah,
else.
she
Not
has
much
to make more
moves.
progress than everyone.
Was that ice pun intentional? I just want to know.
Which one?
What?
He's
Like,
chilling.
Reno's chilling.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was not
Intentional.
intentional. Oops.
Whoopsies!
And of course, Krush is not okay.
She's
No,
not
She's
well.
never okay. I,
The
She's a
least
big
okay,
girl.
honestly.
She'll walk
Ugh.
I
I
miss
yearn for the
Krush.
day when she gets up, but I feel like she's gonna get up, do one thing, and then immediately go back down.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
Krush is
Typical
This-
Krush.
This is
Yeah,
unfortunately a narrative meta thing that I'm aware of, but Tappei was intending to kill Krush there, and his editor stopped him from doing it to keep her in the story if he ever needed her again.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, that makes it really funny because I
So I'm
remember
in
Tappei's tweet.
So
Tappei's
Krush
tweet
is
around
in a,
the episode.
Yeah.
It was Krush is so strong. I love her so much as she's bedridden.
basically Krush is in like a soap opera coma.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Just
She's
basically on standby until she's needed again.
Yeah, down for the
She's
count
the
for
point.
now.
It's like he
She-
crumpled the piece of paper that was her character sheet, tried to throw it in the trash, but he missed. He picked it back up, tried to throw it again, and his editor like caught his hand before he finished.
It's like,
Dude,
And now he's trying to open it up and like straighten it out.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's fine, it's fine.
Oh yes, this was all planned.
Yeah, Krush is like Woody in Toy Story 2. You know, she's broken. She's just sitting on the shelf collecting dust. We don't know if we'll ever use her again. She's over there.
Just there.
Mm-hmm. Now, that's not to
Don't
say he
wanna
won't
play
use her
with you
again.
anymore.
Rem was
Right.
not written in the story originally either, and she's obviously a
It's true.
major component of
My
it.
angel.
And Krush does have a lot of good setup in terms of her backstory and her motivations for the next arcs. So
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, she does.
yeah, if you know, you know.
I'm holding out hope that Krush comes back in a really grand, extravagant, like fuck yeah kind of way. You know?
Like the badass
too.
sort of way. Yeah.
I mean, I have my theories, but unfortunately, too big of a spoiler.
Yep.
Fair.
All right, everybody.
If you
Are
want
we
to know
ready
more,
for
read
chapter
EX1.
2?
Are we ready for?
Peak?
Oh.
I'm ready.
Oh, Tailed, are you good to do Betty and narration?
Yeah, and Frederica, I think.
Oh shit,
Oh.
she is in this chapter too.
I've got it. They all have different voices. We're good.
They do.
I've got it. I have not.
I
painted
believe in
myself
you.
Into a corner.
You got this.
Yeah,
We're
it's
hyping
like
you
the
up.
old days again. I'm on
Hell
it.
yeah.
At least
Back
I don't
in
have
the
to
good
worry
old
about
days.
going really low to do Einzul Go. So
Yeah, you ain't voice acting this whole novel yourself this time. Bless up. Yay! All right, we got Tail these characters. I'm ready to go too. We got Subaru ready, Roswaal ready.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right
Okay. Julius, you ready?
One.
Of course. Yeah, everyone in the chat is, if you're looking, that is about our stretch goal that we have as a donation
Yes.
goal. That if that reaches its max, we will redub over earnestly and intentionally done for quality the Butterfly Dream Lust If, with some minor changes to make sure it doesn't violate genuine federal laws. So,
Yes.
Yeah, that may be.
Yeah.
Belt and Petra, 100%.
Maybe you get rid of the
Laws,
children.
everyone.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're
El-
gone.
Elias, you
Give me-
guessed one of them already for certain. One of the ones I
Yes.
want to do, and then we're looking at the others as well for who to replace.
The girl who is not small.
We also want to write one for the boys as well, so we want to get a double version.
Oh, that's good.
Which is why we have
Exactly,
such
Coyote.
a high barrier up there.
Roswaal Toxic Yowie.
I mean, you guys could vote for your male choices. Of course, we're gonna have Reinhard. We're gonna have Julius, Roswaal. Let's be real. Otto,
Ferris.
Ferris. Oh, Ferris is a great one.
Don't worry, give me a month.
What are you talking about?
The lust if don't know goal. It is $499 as of right now. I think it's in Canadian. Only support if you can. Do not put yourself.
Oh,
in
so if I
financial
donate
burden.
like
$4.99?
£1 to that, that's gonna be
$499.
like $1 billion Canadian or something, right?
Oh wait, really? Oh wait a minute. then.
Conversion
It's in
rate?
USD. It's in USD. Sorry, $499
It's like five-
USD.
No, it's
No,
$4.99
then that-
Canadian. It's like $5.47 or something USD.
No, I have
That's
it set
like,
to USD.
Hmm.
It
A
should be
PlayStation
USD.
or something.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not even
Oh
on
my
the screen.
God.
USD inflation.
It's not on the screen. I did want to switch it because then it's gonna fuck your audio, but we can go. We can go back
Yeah.
to main screen.
Oh?
Oh my god.
T and J from Arc 7.
Oh, yeah. I
Yes.
see what you're talking about,
Yes,
yeah.
that would be actually
Oh my
hilarious.
god! That would be
That would be
perfect!
so funny.
Yeah, the two that Kylie are about to meet.
What's the fun goal?
All right.
All right.
Yes. Are we all settled in?
Everyone back?
Yeah!
Everyone's got water, crackers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Our reactors, we doing good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yay.
I had a lot of thoughts on this chapter, but I'll hold on.
What? No, you can talk about them now.
No,
Yeah.
I mean the second one. I started reading ahead.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have
Yeah,
more
there
on
are a
these
lot
next
of
two.
things in this.
Now, the only thing I'll say about chapter 1 is I posted in the chat, but it's just Subaru's reflection on like Julius's like condition and how he can relate. I really like that.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Subaru somehow relates
also-
with everyone.
I like that Subaru highlights that Beatrice is the only one that's never forgotten him, because that gets overlooked a lot when discussing Arc 2, and it's just one of the most important parts of the relationship to me.
Oh, that's true.
He's our true Bubby.
Bobby, I suppose. All right. I'm going to try to not take over Subaru lines again.
That was funny. That was genuinely funny.
It worked with Petra,
Name
I'd
pattern
say.
recognition failure.
I can't believe Petra hijacked Subaru there. That was
I
crazy.
can't believe Petra was so disrespectful to Rom like that.
Why would Petra say that to her? That's
Petra,
so out of
Petra
pocket.
off screen is gonna get like the maid beating of her life.
Ben spanking's in turn.
What? She's a child.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
Hey, in Roswaal's mansion, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay.
yeah, there are some pretty weird things that happen in this mansion.
Yo, Roswell's a fucking creep.
Yeah,
Speaking of which.
the speaker inside of Petra got onto Subaru's frequency. It's a faulty Bluetooth connection.
What if instead of the Roswaal mansion, it was called the Freak Mansion?
Get it on. He's got a new one. Roswell's Freak Mansion 2, Electric Boogaloo.
In Arc 2 web novel, it was called the Demi-Human Perverts Mansion. Genuinely.
Classic.
Classic.
I want that as a sitcom.
Just their day-to-day life. Okay. All right. Yes, we are using the old version of the mansion in our photo. They will explain further. Uno momento.
All right. We all ready?
We ready.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Arc 6, Chapter 2. His way of providing a warm welcome. This should have been mentioned earlier, but the base for the Emilia camp had moved from the primary residence to the Mather's domain, rather than the previously burned down mansion. That being said, the layout of the mansion was the same as the previous one, with the main building in the center and the west and east wings on either side of it. Since the mansion was almost the same size as the previous as well, there was rarely any confusion when walking around the house. The only problem was that it was just a tad too similar, making it much easier to forget Arlum Village was no longer located nearby. There had been several occasions where Subaru would wake up energetically, seeking to perform radio calisthenics in the village, and then somewhere along that long road, he'd realized he didn't know which way to turn next. Beatrice would subsequently catch up to him in a fuss, and she would be really angry. Anyhow, they had arrived at Roswaal's mansion, had been welcomed by the same old Petra and Rom, and entered the parlor where Roswaal, the owner of the mansion, awaited them.
Oh, welcome back! It's great that you came back safe.
Roswaal sat on the couch as he clapped his hands, welcoming them on their return. Subaru and Emilia instinctively were taken aback by Roswaal's smiling welcome. They looked at his excessive and amicable smile, and then at each other.
Emilia-tan, was anything weird written in the letter?
I don't think so. Is this some kind of weird gift from you, Subaru? Because, you know, you and Roswaal have secret talks sometimes, so...
No way! And even if I were planning on giving a gift, I'd spend my time and effort getting a gift for Emilia, Bearco, Petra, Frederica, Patrice, and even Ram rather than for Roschi.
Those were only names of girls, I suppose.
What's embarrassing for me to ask people like Otto and Garfield about a gift from a man to another man, isn't it?
Subaru responded to the displeased Beatrice and sent a wry smile in response to Emilia's scornful eyes. Incidentally, he had deliberately left out Rem's name in order to avoid causing anxiety for the others. So not to worry, he did feel guilty about it. Anyhow, Roswaal, who had witnessed the whole exchange, shrugged his shoulders.
What a surprising reaction. I worry about your safety, all of you. So I wonder what's so weird about me being glad that you're all safe. It's only natural, right?
That's true, but Roswaal, you haven't shown that side of yourself to us very much until now, so...
It means I've had various changes in my way of thinking this past year. Shouldn't Emilia-sama be a bit happier about me becoming cooperative?
You're right.
Emilia responded to Roswaal's brazen rejection in a way that was typical of her tolerant self, accepting his change of mind. He nodded his head at Emilia, and just seeing her waving her palms back and forth made Subaru unable to leave it at this inadequate level of trust. But
even if you were to try to understand his way of thinking, it wouldn't be possible because it's too odd, in fact. Subaru is also a bit like that, but he is a bit more like that, I suppose.
You're being too vague with your words.
stroking the head of Beatrice, who seemed to have chosen to put in vague and senile words into her remark, Subaru now stepped into the parlor, following Emilia. Roswaal was in a good mood. Subaru was suspicious of that, but felt he was still aware of his motives. In reality, he actually had just spoken of his motive himself just a moment ago. Roswaal was seriously glad about Subaru and Emilia coming back safely. Now that his Book of Wisdom was no longer in his possession, being amiable was the best move he could take in order to fulfill the purpose that he had yet to reveal. His only objective was to have Subaru's actions break the obstacles that stood in the way.
If you feel that way, then that's fine. Though it would be helpful if you were a little cooperative.
You will reach your goal with or without my help. That's why I believe my cooperation is an unnecessary part of your power. It really isn't even a relationship.
It feels like I'm suffering an arrangement in an RPG where I can't use a support character. Normally it does. The support character is unhelpful, as usual. Feels like a standard.
The standard was that overpowered characters rarely participated, until a certain point. Roswaal's lack of participation in battles was much like that. In his case, the more Subaru was pushed back into a corner, the more Roswaal would sit back and watch in glee, believing he would be forced to turn to the power of return by death in desperation to change fate. He was a cunning fellow, which made Subaru want to click his tongue.
Ain't it about time you introduce us as well?
Oh, sorry to keep you guys waiting. Roswaal, they're visitors. Allow them to seat themselves.
I'm listening. Nevertheless, you've brought some interesting faces.
The girl waiting in the corridor spoke out to the people having a conversation at the entrance. Subaru let out a light apology to them, and then made a hand gesture towards Roswaal, who was sitting at the couch, signaling him to let them in. Roswaal stood up and sat back down in the chief's seat with dead silence, then directed the two guests over to the visitor's sofa. Subaru and the others slowly took their places on the sofa facing Roswaal.
Welcome! You have come so far. The last time we spoke to each other face to face like this was at the recognition ceremony.
That's true. Also, it's not like we've spoken to each other in a proper conversation before. This essentially feels like the first time we'll be speaking to each other.
The recognition ceremony that had come up in this conversation was the formal recognition of the suppression of the white whale, accomplished by a combination of the Emilia camp, Anastasia camp, and Crush camp, where they had been evaluated. As the small-scale ceremony had been carried out in the royal castle in the capital, naturally, every member available in the aftermath of the sanctuary affairs had been present, as representatives of each camp were to gather. He had vivid memories of Otto having a tense, pale face, and of the castle shining within Garfield's eyes, and Roswaal was nonchalantly decided to participate, even after all the trouble he had put them through. What a guy. Well, he'd been nervous, yeah, but he couldn't say Emilia was any better than him in nervousness and fidgeting. It made sense, considering how she was being praised for achievements she didn't even have memories of achieving. Regardless, that was a meeting from the past. Mutual greetings were carried out in a hurried manner. And so, the conversation immediately moved on to the main topic, a report about the city of Pristella.
And just like the letter said, Otto-kun and Garfield have withdrawn because of their injuries. I see. Understood. These achievements are truly promising.
A sigh of admiration escaped Roswaal after hearing the report. This made Emilia raise her eyebrows, voicing a "hey" with a slightly stern tone.
They were injured so badly they couldn't even return? Yet you still put it like that? What are you trying to say?
Let's refrain from jumping to any hasty conclusions. Yes, it is heartbreaking that they were injured like that, and yes, their forced, temporary withdrawal is no less heartbreaking than their wounds. However, on the other hand, no one in the camp has suffered fatal damage. If you consider the other camps, and taking into account you have countered multiple Synarch bishops, indeed, this outcome really is miraculous. Naturally, the scars caused by the Synarch bishops should be treated promptly, but Emilia-sama and everyone else who've endeavored to protect the city did their best so that the damage was kept to a bare minimum. I think that you ought to recognize that for yourself.
Oh, thanks.
Emilia delivered her thanks, her face one of someone who had not been convinced. In actuality, his words should have sounded like a sound argument. However, it was important to consider the impression one had of the speaker. Subaru had thought that he was shady, and so all the others probably followed suit.
Well, putting the question of people's thoughts on me aside, shall we move on to something else? Incidentally, the person who summoned Emilia-sama to Pristella, where such a ruckus occurred, was Anastasia-sama, was it not? What do you have to say about that?
It's inexcusable that she was dragged right out of that hubbub. If you want me to apologize, I'll do it properly, as I'm mentally prepared to do so.
And if you sincerely bow your head, this would end without you having to pay back a single coin. Oh, but you do not need to apologize to me. Emilia-sama has already turned you down, correct?
I mean, shouldn't the blame be put on the witch cult since they were the ones to cause mischief? Anastasia shouldn't be blamed for anything, because she just invited us there. It's not like we didn't accomplish the goals for which we were summoned out to Pristella.
Roswaal cast a side glance. Emilia felt the pendant worn on her neck in response. A brand new, large spellstone was attached to the pendant. At this very moment, a fast-asleep Great Spirit was quietly awaiting for its revival. Obtaining this highly pure crystal gem, which would become Puck's anchor, that was something the camp had set as their goal, and something that had been achieved.
Also, isn't it possible that the witch cult was driven back simply because we happened to be there? When you think about it that way, it could be seen as Anastasia's accomplished. To think of it like that would be too favorable to another camp, so I'm gonna stop you there.
For some reason, Anastasia was being rescued by Emilia's words of optimism. However, Roswell's current questioning was just an attempt to keep people in check. In fact, it was plausible that most of the witch cult's targets had been brought into Pristella by Subaru and the others. If that were to be pointed out, there was no doubt the atmosphere would become heavy because of the evil of the witch cult. Thus, it would be in their best interest to solidify the opinion, let's work together! The witch cult blows!
The other three camps have already agreed on that. One Sin Archbishop was killed, and one was captured. Man, one thing was happening after another with the witches' cult.
Though, their organizational skills are a tad dubious. In their case, they're a group of outlaws. Words such as cooperation and unity have no bearing on them. Even if all their allies are slain to the last, that won't be a cure to a madman's lunacy.
I can agree with that.
Roswaal's opinion was the same as Subaru's, so it was probably the correct one. The so-called organization of the witch cult was now more of a ragtag gang of lunatics rather than an actual organization. They could not bring themselves to be naive now that they thought lacked organization. They would not be obedient from now on, simple as that. The remaining gluttony and lust brutality would never be stopped.
That's why we need a countermeasure. Today's agenda is related to that.
Making contact with the sage Shala.
I know that it's not going to be easy, but there's no choice but to try it as long as we can't come up with any other measure. They've come off as all-powerful, or rather all-knowing. If the sage is really like that, there's no harm in just trying to talk to them, right?
Although, everybody in the past couple hundred years who's tried that ended up suffering a big loss by paying with their lives.
He presented this common knowledge, and it certainly was a disturbing view of the situation. However, they had something up their sleeves for that reason. When Subaru exchanged looks with Anastasia, she replied with a gesture of slight acknowledgement using her chin. Then,
There's where I come in. Fortunately, I've got a way that we can make the Sage's Watchtower safely, so there ain't a reason to worry about getting lost. Does that calm your worries?
Well, should I truly believe your words just because? First of all, if you do have this method, the people who would pay a great sum to know such a thing are many. So why are you the only one aware of it?
Money's certainly important to me as a merchant. However, there are things in this world that money can't replace. This is one such thing.
hand upon her thin chest, Anastasia, Aridna, proclaimed that with pomp. Despite the fact she was only pretending to be Anastasia, her word had a wondrous power, a power that astonished even Subaru, one who was aware that it was not her true self at this moment. Being faced with that Anastasia, Roswaal responded by closing one of his eyes, glaring at her for a brief period with only a single yellow eye.
Oh my. This is why it's difficult to deal with those who are cognizant of both fighting and gambling. I'm sure Emilia-san has already agreed to this anyway.
I'm sorry for making these decisions all by myself, alright?
But you won't stop taking these decisions of your own accord. It is fine, however. You'll dare to proceed in choosing this thorny path. That's where he comes into frame as well.
Roswaal retorted in a half-hearted manner, as though he was interested in how they would get there after all. This was because he was now the hope that replaced the Book of Wisdom for Roswaal. The more difficult a road Emilia had chosen, the higher the hurdles Subaru had to overcome.
Anyways, according to Anastasia's information, we'll come across some sort of desert, although it will take a few days.
It is not some sort of desert. It is the Auguria sand dunes. You have made this mistake. You have had this mistake corrected so many times so far. Why can you not remember it?
Julius presented an input of his own as he let out a sigh in reaction to Subaru's vague memory. The person that had been watching in silence while sitting on the sofa next to Anastasia the whole time directed his intellectual gaze at Roswaal, then continued.
I suspect this proposal will be difficult for you to accept, Roswaal-sama. However, in the city of Pristella, there remain many who have been exposed to the witch cult's barbarism, and the number of people who are still wounded, both mentally and physically, is vast. If we could take any action that may serve as possible salvation, then I would wish to have your permission to do so.
You have quite the graceful way with words. It appears that you are owner of extraordinary abilities, but it makes no sense how I have no recollection of that. Which means, that. Right?
Roswaal understood the situation based off of his non-existing memories of Julius's existence. The gaze of Julius turned downcast, at which Roswaal rested his chin on the hand of the arm he had placed on the armrest. Then, loosening his lips with a sense of cheerfulness, he said,
You've been forgotten by everyone because of the authority of gluttony. It feels like you've been left behind by the world. In order to break out of the conundrum you find yourself in, you're looking to pursue the thin amount of hope that the sage Shala. You do not need to make excuses on how it is for everyone else, you know.
By no means am I doing this for selfish reasons.
I'm not blaming you. It's actually a natural thing, and so I find that way of being preferable. Everyone feels more desperate when it's about yourself than others. If other people were to be saved as a result of your actions, there's no need to deny the sense of satisfaction, accomplishment, and superiority it brings your spirit.
Julius's face stiffened as Roswaal continued slamming him with word upon word. Under his clown makeup, the smile on his face turned even deeper.
And, even more, if you save yourself, then there's a high chance that other people will be similarly saved as well. You don't need to feel any guilt for acting in the name of the greater good, right?
Margrave Mathers, may I ask you to stop there?
Anastasia restrained Julius with her voice, taking his place in confronting Roswaal. She let out an elegant smile and then tilted her lovely head. And then...
I also ain't got memories of him. But, even then, this boy seems to be my knight. That's why it doesn't feel right to watch him getting bullied while he's unable to do anything about it.
You're saying that the bond between a master and servant still exists between you two, even when he has disappeared from your memories?
I wonder. I ain't too certain about that either. Though it did feel natural and pleasing that Julius cared for me during the trip. Moreover...
Anastasia gently raised her finger and pointed toward the sofa facing her, and...
I want to prevent you from tearing up your camp. If you keep doing that, yeah?
My, oh my.
In response to Anastasia's point, he looked at Subaru, who was on the verge of eruption, and then promptly shrugged his shoulders. Subaru was on the verge of shouting. Naturally, Emilia and Beatrice were on the cusp of doing so as well. Raising both of his hands in surrender, Roswaal made a statement.
Okay, I'm sorry about this. Though, I do think that I was just pointing out the possibility of a certain aspect.
That was unnecessary. You really need to stop fucking around.
Is that so? You will come across people who don't care about how many people benefit from the outcome, and distrustful comrades who bring you down with abusive complaints. It seemed like you weren't aware of that possibility, so I just thought to advise you to anticipate it.
Not doing this for someone else's sake, but for one's own. As a matter of fact, Subaru was experienced in being berated for such actions, which remained in the form of a painful wound. That had been what he had told Emilia at the royal castle, that he was acting for her sake, but her response was that he was acting for his own sake. As a result, he would never be able to forget the heartache that ensued. That was a definite truth. However, whether that had been the truth or not, there often would be times where people would mention it with the intent of hurting him. But that did not mean that...
It's not as if the feeling of accomplishment decreases depending on the amount of people who approve of of one's actions. As if this person is like that. Stop it.
It cannot be helped, right? Because unlike you, I'm not familiar with his personality. Although, your relations with him doesn't seem like the sort people would have after only a few days of a trip.
Roswaal turned to Subaru, who was about to lose his temper. In just this moment, Roswaal's eyes, bordered by his long eyelashes, became overcast with a full-blown sense of tragedy. Then...
This means that you're the only one who remembers again. Just like in Rem's case.
Though, I do wonder what kind of fate this is.
It is proof your existence is a special one. You should care for it. You should treasure it. Because there are many things out there that cannot be obtained, even when one wishes for them.
Nobody besides Roswaal himself followed the second half of his emotional statement. However, even if he were to continue to ask him questions until he shed light on it, Roswaal would not let out the truth thus. Subaru quickly gave up on the situation. Anyhow, the things that needed to be said should have been said by now. Next would be...
Just like the letter said, the confinement room, and...
And the Sleeping Beauty will be taken out, yes. What a drastic measure! I was sure that you really hated people touching her after all.
A way to wake her up might be found, so I'll try it. Isn't that a given?
I was surprised to find out that you'd first try this measure with that girl. You give off the impression of a selfish person, but in reality, you punish yourself. Somewhere in your heart, somewhere in the corner of your mind, ever since the onset, you believe that she should be the first to be saved.
He had hit the bullseye, and Subaru reflexively sunk into silence. Ever since they'd set out on their journey towards the Pleiades Watchtower, and up until the time they arrived at the mansion, Subaru had been constantly wondering if bringing Rem along as one of Gluttony's victims would indeed be the right approach. Of course, he was not averse to waking up Rem, not at all. If there was a possibility that she would wake up, he wished that she would awaken as soon as possible, even if just for a day, even if just for a second. However, the certainty of Natsuki Subaru being the one to do it was a different matter. All those people in the city of Pristella were suffering the same kind of damage as Rem. A situation where those who were sleeping were not even taken into account by their own families, unaware their existence had been stolen. The more Subaru thought about it, the more he felt like piercing of a strange wedge in his heart. It was the feeling of guilt from saving her first over a multitude of other people. This was why he had hesitated this time around, on the subject of bringing Rem out, but...
I've already convinced Subaru, so there's no problem.
My. This is quite surprising.
In the place of the stricken silent Subaru, the one replying to Roswaal was Emilia. Turning his gaze to Emilia, her chest puffed up with pride, Roswaal quizzically closed one of his eyes.
You say that, but wouldn't her awakening be troublesome for Emilia-sama? Subaru couldn't have strong feelings for that girl, no matter how you look at it. In fact, they're strong as the feelings he holds for Emilia-sama.
Yeah, I think that's right. Subaru will devote himself to the girl for a while, and he might stop caring about me as well.
No way! Under no circumstances would that...
Happen. It should not happen. His feelings towards Emilia had never wavered, and he swore they would never either. However, a different part of him possessed intense feelings for Rem. That was a fact, and just like Emilia said, if she were to wake up, there was no doubt that he'd become devoted to her. However, Emilia turned to Subaru with a, "It's fine," then resumed her words.
If Subaru turns away from me because of that, I'll just try my best to get him to look at me this time. It would bother me for Subaru to leave now, So no matter how cute or enamoring Rem is, I'll make Subaru turn back to me.
Emilia-tan?
That's my resolve. And that's what I have decided. And nobody will complain about you saving her. So it's fine. Let's wake up Rem.
Emilia supported Subaru's decision with her strong words. Those words somewhat sounded like a confession. It surprised Subaru and caused his knees to shake. On many occasions, Emilia had told him things that sounded like affection. That had indeed happened. But in none of those times did she go over the level of deep affection.
Me, Rem, Beatrice, Petra, Patricia, Otto-kun, Garfield, we all want you to be really, really happy.
Though you did mix a ground dragon and men at the latter half of your statement.
She had mixed a lolly in the middle, too. Anyhow, he accepted this, and then Beatrice, who was sitting beside him, poked his shoulder. And, escaped Subaru's lips, looking towards his side right after. Beatrice had her usual indignant look plastered on her face.
It's not like I'm going to complain about Subaru's tendency to fool around with girls, but one of his hands should always be free, I suppose. This is Betty's exclusive special privilege, in fact.
You're ridiculously cute.
That's a given, I suppose. Betty's adorableness resounds to the gods of heaven and earth, in fact.
He didn't go as far as to care about what the gods of heaven and earth thought of the issue, but it did resound in Subaru's heart. Backed by both Emilia and Beatrice, Subaru would endeavor to wake Rem up. He had no reservations about it.
So, that's that, Roswaal. Sorry for being loved so much. I'll be taking Rem.
You'll cause quite a stir within Emilia-sama and Beatrice-sama when you make them sound like alternates. It's fine. Do whatever you want. I never planned on stopping you anyway.
Alrighty then. About the talk from before.
I was feeling concerned, and you just want to make sure that you understood the meaning of those actions. I also heard your guy's incredible, nameless night, so my apologies.
It's okay.
Roswaal spoke in a way that felt like banter until the very end. Julius, on the other hand, inhaled slightly and took turns exchanging looks with Anastasia and Subaru.
I am Julius Juculius. This only remains within his memory as of right now, but I am a royal guard of the kingdom of Lagunica. I am not so immature that my heart would be perturbed by something of this caliber.
He makes his declaration in such a manner, a splendid job of brushing aside the pestering from the wickedly evil mage.
Still a little shaky, though.
Just whose side are you on, really? I feel like I've been stabbed in the back just now.
He sneaked in his last statement just after their conversation had been brought to its conclusion. The conversation had ended, and Subaru and the others had left the parlor. They were heading towards the confinement room that resided in the east wing of the mansion. Over there, they would come in contact with a person who was possibly one of the key factors in reaching the Augria sand dunes. A year prior to this, or thereabouts, a person had been brought along with the residents of the mansion's migration and had been kept inside the confinement room ever since then. That really was not the type of acquaintance one would wish to come in contact with. Nor was it really safe to do, but...
I'm really wondering what kind of results they'll bring. Making me have those sorts of expectations. I wonder if they've perhaps influenced me yet again.
Roswaal rested the weight of his back onto the sofa, sinking deeper and deeper into it as these words trickled out of him. One person was left in the parlor. The sorcerer thought over the lingering memory of the previous discussion, had someone come to mind, and then let out a slight laugh. Then...
Does this mean that I'm becoming one of his favorite members too? What do you think?
You sure say some disgusting things, I suppose, is what I think, in fact. You really have no limits to the point it's frightening. There's no other way to put it, I suppose.
It's not like I lack principles to go as far as to get close with him with this body.
You were a woman before as well, in fact. Betty's just adequately staying on guard, I suppose.
Roswaal made an increasingly cheerful smile, and then the little girl who had responded to his statement, Beatrice, began playing with her own hair by pulling on it, keeping a composed expression. It was possible because she was bored, or perhaps it was a habit she would adopt when starting to get irritated.
Subaru-kun and the others are going to the confinement room, you know. Don't you think it's unsafe that you by side?
A stray that bears its fangs is less troublesome than a pet dog that polishes its fangs, in fact. Which is why I thought to keep that in check properly, I suppose.
Calling him a pet is truly cruel, but being teacher's dog would be something I'd yearn for.
You are a deviant beyond saving, in fact. Roswaal, don't test Subaru too much, I suppose. Betty won't allow you to provoke him too much, in fact.
Roswaal let out a smile containing a hint of obscenity, and it was properly rebuked by Beatrice in her bitter face. Roswaal removed his smile afterwards, and just like always, he closed his one eye. His blue eye, returning Betty's look solely with his yellow eye.
You and I view things a different way. You act carefree, while I act with a single purpose in mind.
That would mean that you see a side of me that is completely different from Mother. The Betty that holds Subaru's hand is several hundreds times better than that, I suppose.
That is what I'm referring to. It's fine for you, who puts on the airs as the guardian of the Forbidden Library, to become as happy as possible.
That's a given, in fact. Which is why I'll have you allow me to act in order to protect that happiness, I suppose.
Roswaal, still seated on the couch, and Beatrice standing right before him. With the two's line of sight at the same height, sparks flew in all directions. Roswaal squinted, as if to attempt to peek into the heart of that round-eyed girl, and...
With one of the Sin Archbishops being killed, a second one should have entered Subaru-kun.
There should be candidates other than Subaru, in fact.
But none of them come close to him, nor do they overlap with him. It is plain as day which one will be chosen. Between the one who only grazes him, and the one who overlaps. Cease with the dull pretenses.
I won't let you say much more, I suppose.
Beatrice responded to Roswaal's argument with a voice coated with determination that she had previously hidden. She grabbed tightly onto her arm's sleeve, then glared at Roswaal.
Betty is Subaru's, in fact. Therefore, Subaru will remain Subaru, I suppose.
I don't mean to hinder your efforts. The lower the number, the more convenient it is for me. That's all.
At the very end, Beatrice sent a scathing look towards Roswaal, heading towards the door. This was the end of the discussion.
Beatrice.
Roswaal called out the girl's back as she moved away. Beatrice stopped walking, but did not turn around.
I want you to be happy. At least much more so than the others. You are like a younger sister to me. That's why.
A pretty disgusting thing to say, in fact. Also, you'll never be like Mother, I suppose.
Isn't that what love is?
There was no rebuttal. There was merely the sound of the door opening and closing, echoing quietly in the parlor. And after that, there was no further sound being made within the parlor.
Woo!
End
It's so,
of the chapter.
it's so good to have your Roswaal back.
So good.
Thank you.
That one line from Roswaal was chilling as hell.
Oh my gosh.
Which one? A lot of that was just roasting
lot of it.
everyone around him.
He was just setting everyone on fire.
Just
God.
stoking the coals.
This is so much easier to follow with people voice acting it. Literally, while reading Arc 6, I'm like, I wish somebody would voice act. I was like, oh, fuck,
Right?
it's us! It's us! We have
It's
to.
our job!
Shit! Fuck! Now it's here.
Fine, I'll do it myself.
But
I still gotta do it myself.
Jinx.
Here we
Hey,
go.
We,
okay.
s-
All right, well,
I
you
think we
guys.
said that at the same time. That's amazing.
Yeah. You guys get chatting about the chapter. I'm gonna run to the washroom. Voice actors, prepare your water and crackers. And we'll eat your food.
Re-energize your
Oh,
throats.
my water crackers are there.
Look.
Wolf, sorry about leaving
Yeah.
in the original line and the edited line for the RPG discussion.
Oh, no worries. I kind of got the vibe by the end there, so I tried to make it flow as naturally as I could with the other one.
Can I just say I love the Roswaal way, like that musical way he speaks.
Mm-hmm.
That
So
was
good.
so good.
Yes.
You guys
very
would
sing-songy,
nail
yeah.
it pretty much perfectly.
Yeah,
Oh,
Gold's
thank you.
Roswaal was amazing. Even chat's saying the same thing.
Colt, stop being amazing. I don't think we want Colt to stop being amazing. I think we want him to continue being amazing.
Forever.
We need him.
Yes.
I cannot imagine
There's a
any other
plan.
voice as Roswaal, honestly. For me.
No, Mickey has a good point that the eye color is having some importance. I think that when he only is using his yellow eye, you can assume that that's Roswaal A Mathers coming back in to like look at things again. Like that's the haunting spirit of the ancestor coming through again.
Yeah.
Good point.
It feels like,
Yeah.
honestly, he emotes differently with different eyes closed. So it makes sense for that to be the case.
I think it's neat that because Arc 5 doesn't have Roswaal, and after he has such a big character shift in Arc 4, it's nice to have a chapter like this where we're like, okay, he hasn't lost his bite, so to speak. This is what Roswell's doing. Here's what he feels right now. It's a nice like catch up moment for his character.
It is, but it's nice to see that he's just doing that to make sure everyone has thought through everything fully, because he's so used to
Right.
having like the full details of what all's going to happen played out that he doesn't have to worry about extra consequences. And he wants to make sure everyone else is worried about it too.
Minor control freak.
Mm-hmm.
Minor.
But kind of with good
Sort of
reason.
Cold's advocate.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
mean,
great because
it is dangerous having someone that no one remembers at all.
Yeah.
Especially with how, especially with what we learn in Arc 5 about how crazy authorities are, truly. Like, it really makes you think, like, Roswaal could even think for a second, have they influenced Subaru somehow too, even though he says he remembers him? That's a very justified thought for him to have.
Like, if you really think about it, gluttony could be used really, really interesting, like, offensive manner that's not taking away your memories, but taking away your memories of something else, right? And I guess that makes sense as to why they'd be suspicious of Julius off the jump. I mean, at the very least, Julius has, his knightly demeanor and stuff, but if it was someone else,
But that wouldn't be gluttony, would it? That would be a light snack of memories. It wouldn't.
yeah, it's a little yummy.
Yeah, just a nibble.
Mooching, not gluttony.
Yeah.
The sin of
popcorn.
boredom
A
eating.
morsel.
Yes!
Snacking too. Yeah.
It's, this is
Snacking
honestly...
over
This is one of my favorite opening chapters for an arc, actually. I think it just holds such good atmosphere. Roswaal does such a good job of adding tension to this element of the story where you're supposed to feel relaxed, right? I think it's already setting you up for maybe a bit more of the tone of this arc. Like Roswaal saying, guys, don't forget, this isn't all happy jolly time. Be careful, be cautious, stay on guard.
Sure as hell, when the anime gets here, they're pulling out the Roswaal theme.
Yes.
Yeah.
The clown music.
It's great because it avoids that anime trope of the bad guy redeeming himself and everybody just being fine with it. Like, and it's important because you need to believe that Otto is justified in not trusting him still, right?
Yeah.
Going all the way back to Arc 5, it makes that situation much more complex. Yeah.
Roswell's still the heel, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. It's
I will
It
never
was
trust
also-
Roswaal. Never.
Yeah, no.
It's impossible.
Let's see if you change your mind in the future.
We will see.
Petra and Otto don't trust him at all either, which I think is hilarious that it's Petra specifically that he can't get back on his side.
Little
He
girl.
is young. It is interesting that they went over the recognition ceremony again. Because, like, if you go back and think about it, with the memory of Remo erased, like, everyone else just sees the Emilia camp as having only sent Subaru, and having the most influence in the fight, which is hilarious.
Well, it's that they left Subaru behind alone in the capital, and he single-handedly managed to get the Carriage and Anastasia camp to unite in with the Emilia camp, and then successfully subdue the White Whale.
Yeah. Public perception of this guy, man.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Subaru as well because of how much survivor's guilt he has in a way. Like, it kind of is survivor's guilt in a lot of scenarios, right? Where
Yeah.
he knows his failures all too well and they deeply resonate within him, and no one else acknowledges those failures typically because they haven't seen them. I think that's why his relationship with
remember.
Julius is so important, because Julius is one of the few people that has seen him make an active mistake and has helped him correct it and has cared for that. And that's why his relationship with Julius is so important, especially in terms of how Subaru views himself.
Oh,
Especially with, like, when Julius actually gives a compliment. Because whenever another character gives him a compliment of some regard, it's usually, like returned by Subaru's internal monologue going, if only you knew how badly I fucked up in that one time. But with Julius, like, it's always like, he's always like flummoxed, he's just, wow, okay, I'm gonna act tsundere now, because that's the only thing I need to
Thanks,
I
I
know
guess.
to do here.
Yeah, he gets flustered.
It's because he respects Julius a whole lot. I think Julius is definitely, he has a different respect than he has for, like, Wilhelm, say. Like, it's more like a peer. Like, this guy is so awesome, I want to be just like him. Not, this guy is so awesome, I can never live up to his legend, but I'm going to try anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He admires Julius's strength of spirit and his ability. He just hates the way that he talks back to him, although he secretly loves it.
Yeah, he does. You can tell he does.
he loves it.
Stripped Chicken has a good point in chat, though, that not only do people think like he went to the White Whale alone, with Julius's name eaten, everyone now thinks he single-handedly defeated Sloth, too.
That's right.
I never thought of that.
Wait, so you're telling Subaru-kun? You're telling me you just threw fire magic gems at him and he died?
You threw hands with him as well?
Erase literally everyone from that battle.
Yeah, it's just him and Patrash versus...
Yeah, the White Whale, everything.
Like, man, that ground dragon must have done a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, it would be like King from One Punch Man. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's a great idea, actually. Yeah. Like, is Patrash known far and wide as, like, the great ground dragon that, like, destroyed the White Whale or something?
Spoilers.
No.
She's known as the great, like, the best of the best of the ground dragons. Like, they made a remark when he first picked her that she's, like, a remarkable and rare breed.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, she already had the, like a legacy, not a legacy, like a...
Reputation.
Word.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, beforehand.
But that was, like, of the breed, not of Patrash specifically, right?
Yeah.
Phil,
People don't
I
necessarily
wonder
view
if she
Patrash as
had
the
a
noble
previous owner.
steed. I'm sorry.
Huh.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Unseen Hand. You should have spoken.
That's okay, it's good.
No, you
It
speak,
happens.
please. I'll shut up.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. You can go on.
I'm done talking.
Oh, Okay, I guess we're both done talking.
Clap, clap, clap.
I'll kill
Well
the
done.
silence real
Yay!
quick.
Excellent conversation. Woo! High fives all around.
Yay!
High five. I think the conversation between Roswaal and Beatrice was interesting, especially when they're relating to how one of the Sin Archbishops being killed, a second one should have entered Subaru, which implies like what's it called?
The greed witch factor.
Yeah, the witch factor.
And even more the statement that it could have been gone to someone else.
Yeah, there should be another candidate other than Subaru, which actually had my attention a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But also the fact that Roswaal doubles down and says, "No, I know it's him. You don't have to try and fool me."
Yeah. And then he says he doesn't want him to have more witch factors?
The lower the number, the more convenient it is for me.
Well, yeah, that's the more powerful he gets, the more difficult it would be for Roswaal to ever control him.
Yeah.
Because Roswaal is only able to maintain his stance here because there's also the constant threat of Subaru. If any of your companions die, I'm killing the rest of them.
Yeah, I will blow up like half of the continent.
He'll burn the whole
to reset
world.
if you go back on what you've like told me. But if Subaru becomes strong enough to fight back against that, then he loses that edge.
Yeah, it's like Subaru's a ticking time bomb on his schemes, right? Because simultaneously it's his method to achieve what he wants, but if he's not careful and lets Subaru get too far ahead, Subaru will gain the upper hand in the relationship.
Do we know?
Interesting, because Subaru already has the upper hand, right?
True.
In a sense, Roswaal has the not the covenant, not a contract, an oath that's bound him to following this. But he's willing to let himself be incinerated by that if it means
doesn't
fighting
care
back
about
again.
Yeah. And I'm sure Roswaal has contingencies to get around it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just he's going to go and do everything he needs to first. He doesn't care if he dies because the next one's just going to take his place.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, this was a discussion that happened in the chat during the chapter. But how does everyone feel about the Emilia Rem Subaru situation here?
Oh,
I feel like that needs to be addressed after they wake Rem up. I think that should be addressed at that point. But I feel like,
or a bit later.
But I feel like with Emilia's somewhat declaration, we definitely know that there's definitely she wouldn't want Subaru to start looking at a different girl that isn't her.
She at least has her foot in the game, right?
Her words are more specific. I don't want Subaru to stop looking at me, which is what Roswaal was implying what would happen if Ram woke up.
But then again, Roswaal is extremely single-minded, like ludicrously so.
The dog line.
Comprehend maybe looking at anything else than his objective.
Sorry for that delay.
You want polygamy?
Oh, we're still on this? Hello?
No,
I can't believe you want 2 wives.
Polygamy's
No.
great.
They're both
Yeah, we of the royal candidates here at Sui Reverie don't want the polygamy. We want polyamory, all 3 together.
So Emilia
Just
loves Rem.
everyone.
I love Rem.
Yes,
Rem loves.
Look, memories no? Hey,
exactly.
no
She's even
show.
calling her cute and enamoring here.
As she is, as she should.
Do you still have her in your PC?
No, I had to take her out because Connor made fun of me because she was melting on my GPU. Her butt is a little funky, but that's okay because she fits just fine on my TV stand behind me. Yeah, I got shelves for her.
Oh my god! Speaking of those,
Jeez. But I think they should talk about it when everything finally calms down. You know, like when they're able to put the foot off the gas, which isn't happening anytime soon. I feel.
Arc
Look,
12
just
epilogue.
Exactly. And if you haven't read the Arc 3 light novels, Rem proposes that as the situation before she gets eaten.
And we love that for
Does
her.
she?
Yeah. It's like I'm fine with being
Yes.
the second wife. Like, just
She
if Emilia's cool with
literally
this, I'll do
says
it.
that. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And that is what
And-
that is what
Like,
Subaru
that's
is
what-
trying to propose to Amelia when we
Yeah, on
get
the carriage?
Rem scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. The Rem likes me. He was trying to be like, hey, so are you fine with us, having a three-way?
Who's Rem?
Oh my god.
Would be your best friend.
You see, the issue is that with a lot of the relationship troubles in ReZero could be solved by, time and talking things out. Like the Astrayas can, they need time. ReZero, we don't have time. Everything's just happening.
Subaru has all the time he needs to get the right route.
True.
Heinkel doesn't.
Heinkel doesn't, unfortunately. God, Heinkel.
Best
I'm holding out
character
hopes for him.
ever.
I won't lie, Drad. While I was reading Arc 6, the character we cast, like you auditioned for, all I could
Yeah.
hear was your voice while I was reading it.
Aww.
I was like, oh shit. All I
That's
hear
so
is-
kind. But, well, Pat
Heinkel
stole it from me brutally.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's so
Fortunately.
Heinkel-like.
Fortunately. Yeah.
It's
thank
fine,
you.
Drad. We have another drunk dad to give you later.
Yes, we do.
Wait.
True. Okay, yeah, no, wait. Yeah, no, I see. Wait. That doesn't. Does that work? Are
I'm
they in the
halfway
same
through
scene together?
7.
Oh, that's a good point. That's actually a very good point. I think it's only
Yeah, they are on the
one
same
scene, though.
I have a pretty
Yeah.
big vocal range. I can
Yeah,
do two
just make
drunk
them
dads.
different enough. You can talk to yourself.
You
all
just
the
do the
time.
second drunk dad. Okay.
That's
Yes,
hilarious.
absolutely. I'm
Oh,
okay
yes.
with being typecast as long as that is my typecast.
We'll have
also
the
make him
auditions
groovy
up.
just to fuck, just for funs and giggles.
We'll have the auditions up soon, but I think you have a lot of characters that we think you are a
Excellent.
good fit for. And we'll let
Gladly,
you have your
very
choice.
happily.
Oops, I was just
Yeah, I know he.
There we go.
Because it's a lot of characters in 7 and 8 have that like sort of gruff, bearing and voice to them.
I can give someone an outrageous Slavic accent if I try hard enough.
It's hilarious.
Hell yeah.
Jay.
Shit.
Like what the kid accidentally turned into
Yeah.
last week.
That was
Yeah,
great,
nice.
though.
Ooh.
All right, I think we have all returned. Is everyone ready to start this chapter?
Why,
Thank you
yeah.
for waiting. My father
Yes.
came and wanted a lamp that we were currently using, so I had to get it out carefully.
Do you use all your wishes?
What is he, a moth?
Yes, I did. It's a moth.
Father has come for lamp. Lamp must go.
I have come for lamp.
Lamp moth.
I requisition family lamp. Give.
It is family lamp.
My child, I require your lamp.
Give me the lamp.
Give me the lamp.
Where's the lamp source?
It's fucking rude.
Lamp sauce.
It's fucking dim.
Fucking dim in this house. I need the lamp sauce.
It's slowly turning into like a Swedish thing.
That sounded more like the Beatles than Swedish.
That's more Oliver.
Ringo.
Oh, yeah.
Like the condors from, not the vultures from Jungle Book.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
Nice reference.
Swedish all I can
bird.
think of is the Swedish chef from the Muppets.
Okay, I thought you were going
I
to say
love
Swedish
that
fish
guy.
for a second.
I just think Bjorn Ironside because of Wolf.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's strapped in and
Honey,
ready. I got the right background up finally. I kind of glitched briefly in the last chapter, but hey, we got it done.
There we go.
Shout out to Lost in Memories and the other one that got canceled because we have so many freaking backgrounds. And this next one, we have a commission background from EC Johnny. So EC also made our Liliana for our Liliana stuff. Yeah, it's really cute. You guys are gonna like it.
Oh, that is it. The one you're showing right now?
Nope.
No, this is from the VNs.
I'm gonna
Okay.
surprise you all. It's really cute. It's Maylee's cell, of course, but
Spoilers.
sorry. Okay, the name of the chapter is The Little Girl's Cell. Is that a full spoiler?
It's the confinement room.
No! No! How could you spoil this for me who's already read it? No!
I'm sorry. Wolf is glaring me down right now.
How could you do this to C
I'm sorry. Ben, forgive me.
I might as well just drop ReZero, never come back.
I grabbed you from the depths.
It's done. It's done.
It's okay. It's fine.
Anyways,
we don't need to do any more mid-zero. It's fine.
Fuck. Before I shoot myself in the foot further, let's get started. We got Narrator Kun. You ready?
Oh yes, I am.
Oh yes. Frederica, Subaru. We good. Everyone else I think is solid. Yes. Common, you good?
Mm-hmm.
That's a point. Before we start, Al, are you able to access the document that Common's been using to catch timestamp stuff? Like any mistakes we need to go back to?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
After honestly, it probably should just be for this chapter. Because, Common, you were saying that you were using the stream audio, right?
Yeah.
So this would make it so that it won't have the delay for it.
If you don't mind covering for that, Al, that'd be wonderful. Because I was just gonna highlight whenever Common spoke, and then go back.
Yeah. I was already doing that with the second chapter, although I didn't notice that it was on a separate tab. But oops, my bad, Common. But yeah, I'll cover it.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Pachi. Our editors, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Without further ado,
Okay.
Narrator, when you are ready.
I'll just start?
Yeah, you read the chapter title.
The whole header.
Right. Okay. Arc 6, Chapter 3. The Little Girl's Cell.
How did your talk with the master go?
You could say that it went the same as usual, and that he irritated me more than usual. You get the point.
Well, I understand what you mean.
Subaru's group had left the parlor, and Frederica had been entrusted with guiding them towards the mansion's east wing. This scary-faced woman, with her beautiful long blonde hair and courteously worn maid outfit, finally exchanged polite greetings with Anastasia and Julius as one of the mansion's proper maids, and spoke to Subaru, who was walking away discouraged.
Was Garf useful on your journey and in the city? For him to get heavily injured to the point of not being able to come back, even when I gave him specific instructions, I am worried about him causing trouble for Emilia-sama and the others.
No, don't worry about that. Garfield worked really hard after all. He's resting along with Otto-kun right now, without causing any trouble. Well, I'm not so sure about the any trouble part. I hope that's not what he's doing. Regardless, we did request that they rest.
My apologies for my foolish younger brother causing you trouble.
Emilia didn't respond when Frederica offered her apologies. She was still doubtful about what she had said. Anyhow, Garfield's behavior worried Petra, Ram, Roswaal, and Frederica, but his mentality had changed in some way or another during the incident at Pristella. One could say that he had matured. No doubt about it. To begin with, for a 15-year-old boy, Garfield's strength was already outstanding. Even considering just how fierce the battles with the Bowel Hunter and the Eight Arms had been, he was still far from being able to boast himself as the strongest. But even then, he certainly possessed a level of strength that contended with not just the Emilia camps, but the whole continent's top ranks as well. His biggest problem? Perhaps his immature mentality. Once that mental frailness was overcome, however, he would go a level beyond. Regardless, there was still a ways to go. That was something that shouldn't be rushed. Steadily and assuredly becoming stronger, stepping firmly on each step of the stairs before moving on to the next stage was the appropriate way a 15-year-old should mature. And in addition...
There's another reason for him not coming back right away this time.
Is it Mimi?
There's that too, but...
He smiled wryly at Emilia, and cutting into the conversation with her insightful point. Even Emilia, someone who was supposed to be unfamiliar with romantic relationships between men and women, seemed to be curious about the love affairs of other people to some extent. She was very interested in Garfield and Mimi's relationship. Of course, Garfield should feel something for Mimi, who had risked her own life to guard his, and she was not shy in proclaiming her affection for him both before and after the battle. Frankly speaking, there was no man out there who would not waver upon being struck with affection from a girl he didn't hate. Subaru, too, was no exception. He was unable to say anything about that phenomenon, considering that he was one that had experienced it before. He would have to wait and see how Garfield would respond to Mimi's feelings, considering the fact that his fondness for Ram was clear. But that was a concern different from the one Garfield had left in the city of Pristella.
Subaru-sama, do you need to ask me something?
No, nothing in particular. It wouldn't be right for me to talk about this matter.
He looked at Frederica's profile with a profound look and was questioned about its meaning. Taking Garfield's true feelings in mind, Subaru dodged her question. At Pristella, there was a family that Garfield worried about. A family of golden hair and green eyes, traits that would remind anyone of Frederica and Garfield, who were brother and sister. Garfield's relationship with that family was like his relationship with Frederica. It was certain that that relationship was something Garfield wished to report to his family members, Frederica and Ryuzu himself.
So I won't say anything. Natsuki Subaru will leave it in a Choku Suteki way.
Oh, speaking of Garfield, at Pristella there were some children that were really friendly with him. And they were...
Emilia-tan! Emilia-tan! You're gonna make my monologue go to waste!
His interference was about to go to waste, so Subaru literally covered Emilia's mouth to stop her from speaking. The possible outcome would be scary if he were to leave it as it was, so he decided that he would make the time to properly explain the gist of the setting later to Emilia. Subaru waved his hand with a forced smile at Frederica, whose face became more and more puzzled.
Sorry to interrupt you two while you're happily heating up your intimacy, but do you all know where you're headed?
Oh, that place called the confinement room. That person we talked about before is there.
That person, then? I wonder if the conversation will go well.
It's something that hasn't been done before, so I don't know. Either way, I'll at least try asking, to make sure.
Julius responded to Subaru's explanation by going into deep thought, his face complex as he followed the latter's back. In reality, Subaru was also aware of the many problems this proposal had in store. However, if all went well, then they would lower the risk of their journey by a considerable amount.
Also, that girl's rather fond of Subaru, so shouldn't it be fine?
That girl's more fond of Garfield than she is of me. Huh, maybe she likes him more because he's feline. Oh, we've arrived!
While he was replying to Emilia's optimistic words with a strained smile, Frederica stopped walking. Subaru and Emilia, too, halted their movements, having entered somewhere with a view and atmosphere distinctively alien in the mansion. The floor layout was roughly identical to that of the previous Roswaal mansion. However, the basement part of the eastern wing, that was the only place that was starkly different. In the central building of the mansion, there was the main center wing that concentrated the facilities needed for daily life. The west wing contained multi-purpose facilities such as the maids' rooms and the guests' rooms. Then there was the eastern wing, a place that acted as a storehouse or safe for the history and heritage of the ancient Mathers bloodline, such as books. However, the only place that was different was the eastern wing's basement. There was a clear goal set for the cold stone room in the basement of the noble mansion.
Quite the unpleasant atmosphere floating around this place. Huh.
And Anastasia snorted her nose, complimenting her brief comment on the different atmosphere. There was no denial of her view on the mood, so it was indeed a clear assessment that everyone agreed with. The atmosphere that drifted about in this level of the mansion could not be described in any way other than unpleasant.
It's still different from my asthma, it seems. But my body ain't feeling too good about it for sure.
In regard to the building's structure and this facility's original purpose, it may be completely unrelated, but I do believe that this structure was ultimately erected due to the presence inside.
Anastasia and Julius looked down at the continuous stairs leading down to the basement of the mansion, filled with darkness, as they exchanged words. The confinement room had already been brought to their attention. It seemed that both of them had correctly imagined the sort of establishment that existed in the basement, or were as close to the right answer as possible.
Well then, I shall be guiding you all now. Please be careful to avoid tripping over your own feet.
With those words, Frederica led them down the stairs. Subaru and the rest followed her tall back, headed for the basement. And Julius's face indicated that he had steeled himself for what laid ahead. The footsteps they made while walking down the stone stairs resounded very clearly throughout the space they were in. A cold breeze blew upwards from the basement, causing Subaru's hair to shake slightly, which got his nerves incomprehensibly.
I am going to open it.
Having descended towards the basement, they were blocked by an iron door standing right in front of them. The door had many solid locks installed onto it. Frederica released several of them, one by one. The key to the door made a sound. The locks were undone, and then the door opened with a creaking noise. Beyond that gate, a stone pathway laid in front, with yet another door to be found deep inside this place at the back.
The person you are looking for is beyond this door.
Frederica stepped to the side of the door, making way for them to enter, and then bowed. They gave acknowledging gestures with a nod of their chin in response, and the four people headed straight towards the door, with Subaru in the lead. The door at the deepest part of the basement had no lock. He reached for the doorknob. If he were to push it open, they would surely meet what was inside. Upon having come in contact with the door, Subaru looked back with bated breath. Emilia, Julius, and Anastasia all stared and watched Subaru. The three nodded their heads at Subaru, and he took a deep breath. Then, putting strength into the hand that gripped the knob, and with a sound, the door was pushed open.
Rawr, rawr, I'm gonna eat you. Help me, no. Nobody will come save you even if you cry for help.
With the doors opening, a lovely voice was heard as the pathway became bathed in light. On the other side of the open door, a lone girl could be seen inside the room, a multitude of dolls placed around her. Her back faced the others as she continued to play with the dolls in her hands. She changed into an imitative voice, though it was unclear just what exactly she was imitating. Nonetheless, she was pretty into it.
Nope, he's coming because he promised to come to me when I was in trouble. After all, huh?
Holding a doll representing a little doll, the child stood up, having suddenly noticed something. Looking back timidly, she saw Subaru and the others standing still at the entrance, dumbfounded, and then opened her round, large eyes. She had braided, light brown hair and had simple but lovely facial features.
Yo! What's up?
Addressing her, Subaru raised his hand as if nothing had happened at all.
Oni-san, you idiot! At least knock before you come in!
Unsurprisingly, he was yelled at as a result of this little prank.
So yeah, this is the prisoner of this mansion. Meili here will advise us regarding the witch beasts.
I've been disgraced. Oni-san hurt my feelings.
Subaru introduced the depressed girl who was crouching in a corner of the room, surrounded by stuffed toys, Meili. Julius shook his head, putting his fingers between his eyebrows. While keeping the girl at the corner of his vision, he spoke this as if blaming Subaru, who had gotten carried away.
It was a bit clumsy of me to have not gotten more information about this beforehand, but the poorness of your character is showing. It is inexcusable that you pull these pranks at every opportunity.
I don't think I was playing around that much, though. Though I do agree that it was in bad taste. Also, she really was someone dangerous before, you know?
Julius appeared to have misgivings of Subaru's justifications. Ignoring those skeptical men, Emilia and Anastasia lined up and spoke out to Meili.
Sorry, Meili. We'll scold Subaru for this later, so don't worry. My, what a cute girl, ain't she? Beatrice-chan, Petra-chan, ain't this quite telling of Natsuki-kun's tastes?
That's a ridiculous opinion of me! Mind saying something more fitting? I've been trying to bring people together, not specifically lollies!
There was suddenly some sense of grounding to his nickname Lollymancer, so he wished she wouldn't say such frightening things. Putting that aside, Meili hadn't listened to Emilia and her words either, as she was indignant and earnest. In that sense, there was an imbalance in the way she possessed childlike sensitivity.
Meili.
I can't hear you.
Meili, come on!
I don't care!
This was the situation. She was a nuisance, having entered a mode in which she'd refused to listen. Thus, Subaru decided to hurry up and bring out the last resort as quickly as possible. He reached around his back and then showed Meili the ace up his sleeve.
Look, Meili! It's a present here! Take it! It's a new stuffed toy! Darapanda!
Wow! It's so cute!
What Subaru presented Meili with was a stuffed toy, one that he had put together during the dragon carriage trip back from the city of Pristella. As someone who had improved his skills in domestic work the past year, Natsuki Subaru's sewing skills had become twice as good as before. He could now produce stuffed toys, and if so wished, he could even maybe create women's clothes. In any case, this new stuffed toy was innovative work that had merged a panda theme with a lazy from the heat taste. He more or less felt like he had seen something akin to it before, but since that was something from beyond this world, it wouldn't be a big deal, so it was irrelevant. And so he presented the new piece that had those details, and Meili accepted it with glimmering eyes.
Cute! It's a new animal. I wonder what I should name it. Okay, I've got it. I'll call this one Big Panda.
I see you've named it literally what it is.
Putting aside her naming sense, she was extremely skilled at understanding the essence of things. Hugging the stuffed panda in a loving way, she looked at Subaru and the others with a face that indicated that her mood had been salvaged.
By the way, welcome back, Oni-san. One-san. Looks like you've all been away for quite a bit, huh? Petra-chan missed you, you know.
We were gone for a whole month after all, and we're going to be gone for a while again, so I don't really want to think about how it'll probably anger Petra. But
Petra-chan does love Oni-san after all. New people?
As she was lining up her scattered plush toys onto shelves, Meili's face revealed that she had just noticed Julius and Anastasia. Julius looked surprised at the sudden change in mood, but Anastasia simply nodded with a composed look.
Compared to her, Mimi's ability to manipulate us is only beginner level.
Now that you say it, I agree. Let us give our thanks to Mimi.
Master and servant displayed a strange sense of aggrievement, and after that, Julius's eyes swiftly darted around the room, after briefly taking a look at that underground space.
Nevertheless, I had assumed this would be a harsh environment after hearing that it was a confinement room. But contrary to my expectations, it seems to be a rather peaceful place to spend time in.
The person in here is a little girl, so it's not like we wanted to torment her. but she can't go outside either, so it's complicated.
Emilia lowered her eyebrows, her visage complex. Just like she had stated, the confinement room, or rather Maylee's living space to put it bluntly, gave off a very lenient feeling for a place of incarceration. It did seem cold because of the stone pathway, but there was colorful wallpaper and carpet decorating the girl's room, and she was free to do whatever she pleased, considering how she wasn't even restrained. On the shelves, there were countless stuffed toys that had been crafted by Subaru's hands, along with many books and play equipment. She was being given food, and there wasn't any problem with bathing or going to the bathroom. In short, it was a place where a hikikomori could live in peace. It was so comfy that even Subaru wanted to confine in it. However,
It seems that there is a peculiar air, not unlike miasma, leaking endlessly.
It also seems to be coming from that girl, doesn't it?
in response to Anastasia and the other's look, Maylee nodded with a smile on her face. She had an honest smile, but something emanated from that girl, so dreadful and disgusting that it could not be hidden. That was the biggest reason as to why Maylee had been confined here and was not released.
I did talk about it on the Dragon Carriage, but this girl actually aimed for Emilia and us before. So, she's like a killer for hire? You could put it like that, I guess.
I feel that it is inaccurate already at this point, but please continue.
It feels like you're implying something with the way you say that. Anyways, she's a professional killer. As for what Maylee's small body can do, in short, she can manipulate witch beasts. She is a witch beast master.
Yep, me and the bad animal sans get along pretty well.
Maylee said that with an ahem as she puffed up her chest with pride, but the contents of her words were still shocking. Witch beasts were harmful threats to mankind and were never friendly with humans at first. It seemed that there was one exception, an arrangement in which witch beasts would obey the person who had broken their horn, but...
In Maylee's case, the presence of the horn is irrelevant. I'm not too sure about that theory, so even if I explain it to you, you wouldn't understand.
From what Mama said, I play the same role as a witch beast's horn, so I can be friendly with the witch beasts.
Fulfilling the role of a witch beast's horn, the meaning of that was obscure. That being said, it seemed like there had never been any type of research done on the ecology of witch beasts. Of course, there was the possibility that there were people who hunted witch beasts for a living, but even if they held that information about their traits, they would not be looking at them from a research point of view, most likely.
Initially, Maylee came to attack us with one more person. Garfield defeated that person, and this girl was caught. Ever since then, she's always been sheltered by this mansion. Why did you do that much? No matter what you say. If she was an enemy before, you shouldn't have dealt with her quickly. But I'm guessing it's more like you can deal with this. There's no way we can even think of killing her. But at the same time, we can't expel her either. Because this girl says that if she gets released...
Mama will get mad at me. Elsa died and I failed, so she'll definitely kill me if she finds me. So, staying here is the safest option.
Maylee answered with a calm tone, but it seemed like her expression had become clouded. Maylee had lost Elsa, who she worked with, and had failed in carrying out her task. Their guardians were most likely something like professional killer managers, and their failures would definitely not be tolerated. No, definitely never be tolerated. Banishing her would mean she would receive punishment. Those would be her own personal consequences, and even though Subaru and the others were completely unrelated to that...
It is certainly a nightmare to deal with.
This is not the first time Emilia-sama and yours ideations have been brought up. It was out of line for us outsiders to utter such inconsiderate things. Incidentally, who is this mama of hers?
We don't know. Any other thing besides this mother's name Mama is unknown. Based on what Meili said, she doesn't even know what her face looks like. What kind of family environment is that?
But considering the professional killer business, perhaps that grim way of life was unavoidable. It seemed difficult to figure out who this mother was based off of the content of Meili's statements, so they could shake off anxiety about the future.
That Roswaal bastard was also useless after Elsa died, since there was no one like an intermediary.
Did you say something?
Just talking to myself.
The insignia incident that occurred on the very first day Subaru had been summoned in the royal capital had been orchestrated by Roswaal. Of course, Elsa, who had attempted to reap Emilia's life, was also the one he had commissioned to do so. Considering the flow of events that request, considering the flow of the events of that request, it should have been easy to draw that connection. However, the intermediary of that communication line had been lost somehow, and it seemed that they were unable to contact that person. If Roswaal's words were to be trusted in any way, Elsa and Meili's subsequent attacks were unrelated to his intentions. This was where this mama or whatever had become a concern.
Anyhow, that's our relationship with Meili. The girl's here out of necessity. It's not to spoil her, at least for now.
If that's the case, Subaru and everyone else are being a little too nice.
Well, in that case, it's our dreamy good virtues taking over.
Because, after all, it was painful seeing this small, youthful girl being confined to a cold basement. It was not something they could just decide to forget, and if they attempted to disregard it, they would end up getting bad dreams. So it's not like he held any grudge against her, and so he was better off being in a good mood with her.
Wouldn't you normally have a grudge against her?
Should I?
I mean, didn't you say she tried to kill you? So...
There's such a thing called idle malicious intent. Although, a crime is a crime, regardless of age.
In response to Anastasia's question, Subaru went into thought while scratching his cheek. Once he took a peek at Meili to the side, Subaru noticed that she was looking at himself with unreadable emotions in her eyes. He wasn't really concerned about her, but he spoke his thoughts honestly.
If someone orders a person who doesn't know any better to commit a crime, then the person who made the order should be blamed. Even more so if it's a kid. If they're capable of thinking for themselves and do it regardless, I think there's no difference. An eye for an eye, the Hammurabi Code, is nothing but negative in my eyes.
That's some lip service. So do you think the people this girl had murdered would agree with that?
I don't think so. They're free to want revenge on Meili. As for myself, had I died, even I don't think I'd state my forgiveness like I do now.
In the end, Subaru's opinions and thoughts would change depending on first impressions. If he were told things such as that he wasn't right in the head or that he was being ruled over by his emotions, then so be it. Actually, that was probably true.
Back when I was a kid, my parents and other adults would take responsibility for me. So I thought that if the kids near me do something they can't take responsibility for, how about I take it on instead? That's all.
A valuable opinion. Thanks.
Anastasia cut off Subaru's words, as she had lost interest halfway. Of course, he felt like that was a typical reaction, so his feelings hadn't been hurt. In an organization where clean judgment was not taken into consideration, then any crime would be judged to be a crime, regardless of age. A probation period, however, was given, because this camp was a lenient one. Subaru didn't dislike that atmosphere and environment.
I believe what Subaru is saying makes sense.
Thank you.
He had not been expecting completely positive reactions, but words such as those were akin to salvation for him. Turning to Meili, who had been forgotten even though the conversation had her as the topic, Subaru matched his eyesight with hers.
I have something that I need your help with. Mind coming along with me?
Sure thing. I'll go with Oni-san.
Meili quietly nodded at Subaru's request. Subaru, nor anyone else, pointed out how they felt like they could witness slight tears from the girl who had hidden her face with the panda in her embrace.
I've only been to the Agaria sand dunes twice.
Subaru and the others' explanation ended, and Meili said those words while fiddling with her braided hair. She closed her eyes as if looking back at her memories before resuming.
I visited to replenish the witch beasts in my control. There are lots of witch beasts there, so a lot of progress was made. But... Oni-san, are you really going there? Everyone besides me will probably die, you know.
It seemed that their actions were seen as reckless in the eyes of this girl who was devoid of morals. The Witch Beast Master's opinion carried some weight, quite some weight, in regards to just how much they were striving for.
I really want to use the expertise of those with experience as a reference, but the idea that we'll die if we go has been thrown around a lot lately. So, it's a bit late for that. Also, if it's just like a maze in the desert, then we have preparations to break out of it.
Yes, that'd be me.
Anastasia waved her hand, emphasizing her role as a guide. However, avoiding getting lost on the path in this endeavor to conquer the desert to get to the Watchtower was only worth 30 points. Failure would be inevitable with this score. Or rather, as long as they remained unable to find an answer worth a perfect score, they would probably have difficulty getting out alive. The three problems: the desert labyrinth, the witch beast's den, and the stage's eye. The desert labyrinth would work out with Anastasia being Eridna, and as for the counter to the witch beast's den, this is what they wanted to prepare a measure for. That was why he wished to hear more details from Meili, but...
how should I put it? Do you know any way to avoid the witch beasts? Or rather, ways to lure them away from us?
Oni-san, if you run off by yourself, a lot of them will definitely chase you, you know.
I've already done that a few times, and they were painful experiences.
It happened once a year ago at the mansion, and once again a little while after that by the Whale of the Plains. He felt like it was about time to stop this. Of course, he wasn't reluctant to do it if there were no other measures to be taken. If there was no other measure to take. But Subaru wanted to avoid being the only one left behind in the middle of the desert, if possible.
If Oni-san doesn't want to do it, then maybe you could prepare a lot of decoys for it. All witch beasts jump at living things over normal food. So maybe something like that?
That's definitely a no. I'm against it. I am against it.
You don't have to disagree so frantically. Nobody will be chosen, so it's fine.
That being said, it seemed like no useful opinions were coming up, or at least, as far as the witch beast's psychology was concerned, with Meili, someone who was better at handling them than anyone else, incapable of coming up with an effective plan, they were helpless.
Yep, guess we'll have to beat the witch beasts that come at us one by one. Gonna expect a lot from Emilia and Julius.
I am wondering about your self-appraisal, considering how you were not included there. But do you think this is possible?
Julius reacted to Subaru's proposal by asking Meili about its feasibility. Upon hearing that, Meili looked at Emilia and Julius in turn, and...
Probably not. Can One-san use magic for about a week without rest?
You want us to have a final battle in trench warfare?
I'll try?
You don't have to! This is the flow of an unreasonable conversation. Emilia-tan's hair and skin will dry up, so let's not, okay? Rejected!
It seemed like the plan to break through by force already had some unreasonable details to it. Just how much of that scenario Meili had actually seen was unknown, But if there was no such thing as childhood exaggeration in her statements, then they could never perform the unreasonable.
How about smearing witch beast blood on the dragon carriage and fooling the other witch beast's sense of smell?
No, the ground dragons won't be able to fool them. And there's the possibility that the witch beasts won't band together. Something like hiring guards. Oh, how about hiring a big army for this? Kind of like what we did with the white whale.
That will not be possible either. That was done before by other people who challenged the Pleiades Watchtower. Even though it was not as big as an army, it was still a large force. Feel free to guess the result. How about breaking the horn of a powerful witch beast and using it to fend off the other witch beasts?
If it's not as overwhelming as the whale, then we'll be overrun by their numbers. It'd be nice if avoiding them was simple, such as using something like an insect repellent spray.
Subaru's odor, or rather the witch's lingering scent, was a spray that attracted insects towards him, so he was useless. Roswaal was the one responsible for constantly managing the barrier that separated the Arlem village from the witch beast's habitat. Something like creating a barrier around people, one that moved together with them. It seemed like that sort of thing was not possible.
Perhaps we should have Roswaal hold on to us and attack from the sky?
If we could slip by the sage's eye, then that may have been an option.
Oh, damn! Right, we have to consider the sage too.
His unrealistic viewpoint was denied by a realistic one. Even if they could just evade the witch beasts in the desert, there was still the sage to worry about. Just how had nobody ever been able to slip by this person? It was honestly the only thing they were completely in the dark on how to handle.
If we could at least narrow it down to one problem.
Jeez, I guess I have no choice.
Oh?
Subaru and the others all sat in a circle in the room, getting headaches from thinking about the way out of this conundrum, and then, finally, Meili spoke. She stood up, shaking her small head at Subaru and the others.
I can go with you guys. If I'm there, the witch beast won't care what you do. You'll be free to stay away from them, make them pets, make them kill each other, or make them eat the sage person.
We won't do the second half! Or, anyways.
He opened his eyes wide at that fairly extreme remark, but the proposal shocked him even more. Not only was Meili being cooperative, but she was willing to go out on her own, an opinion he thought she would never express.
Aren't you scared to go outside? Is that alright?
It's not like I'll be found by Mama, right? After I leave the mansion, you know? I'm scared of being found. But I can't just stay in this room my whole life.
He was surprised with Meili being conscious of that fact, that sooner or later she would have to leave. But that may have been natural. He had been taking turns checking on her whenever the change presented itself. But even then, the time that girl spent confined in her room by herself was multitudes larger. Certainly, she had had so much time to think that even the silence would become scary. Being confined in a room alone was both relaxing and terrifying. And even if those sensations evoked lethargy in her, one day her heart would be tortured without warning.
Subaru?
And while Subaru was feeling unusual sympathy for Meili's heart, Emilia gently pulled on his sleeve. Subaru knew what she was thinking, as he agreed with it as well.
This isn't just a fun walk outside. We have a guide, we'll be crossing the desert, and even though we have you, we'll have to get through the witch beast den. To make matters worse, some scary sage guy might be on the watch out too.
Isn't it nice taking a walk after a long time?
With those bullish words, Meili replied to Subaru. Just how much of it was a bluff was unbeknownst to him,
and likewise, just how much of it was her telling the truth was too, but...
She is the trump card for the witch beasts, right?
Yeah, that's right. We'll be counting on you, Meili.
I'll try my best, even if you don't.
Emilia and Subaru exchanged gazes with each other, and then nodded to Meili. The girl, the recipient of their words, spoke as if she would push herself beyond her utmost abilities, and hugged the panda tightly. And so, this became a single step forward towards accomplishing their journey, at which Julius folded his arms, some words spilling from his mouth, his face one of admiration at the result he had just witnessed.
I really wish that I would not utter these words, but persuading little girls really is one of your strong points. Although I do not believe this is a good ability to be renowned for.
It's because you guys are steadily treating me like a little girl user! Or have you know that Meili isn't as small as a little girl? She's not a little girl!
Subaru pointed at the room's entrance in frustration in response to Julius's useless words. Right as he did, however, the door was opened, and a person showed up on the other side of the door.
I was wondering what was so noisy. Only to find out it was just Subaru making a racket again, I suppose.
Having finished her private talk with Roswaal, yet another little girl had joined them. Another fuss was made, but that was an incident to be put aside as something not worth bringing up. So that will be left as that.
Yay!
Good job, everyone!
Oh my god, we did it, guys!
Oh my god. Amazing.
We made it!
Excellent work! Yay!
I almost missed
that was
that
fun.
last Beatrice line because it was Betty instead of Beatrice, so my find didn't.
Oh,
Shit.
I'm so sorry. That one was
Okay.
left as a question mark in the actual chapter,
okay.
and I had just
no
written
worries.
it in.
Luckily, I glanced through the whole thing to the bottom. It's like, oh, wait, nope, not done yet.
And that is why we keep you around. Professional.
Yay!
Great job. Yeah, Meili's voice was incredible. It was great.
Oh my god.
Yes, great job, Carmen!
Yeah.
It was.
Right.
So good.
There we go. I fix.
That was fun, everybody.
Yes.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
fun.
Yay!
And this is
Super,
the
you need to
piece-
stop collecting little girls.
Yeah.
It's not my fault!
Oh, come on,
Super,
stop it.
you have to stop collecting little girls.
Spoilers, he doesn't.
He does not. He never stops. He can't stop. It's an
His
addiction.
Stop,
FBI
won't stop.
agent must be so happy.
I'm still.
Daisy from the heat.
Yay.
Money.
Well, how do we feel about that chapter? That artwork was by our wonderful EC Johnny. I hope you guys like Meili's room. I could bring it back up again.
It was great.
Still up.
Yeah.
Still.
Bring the ears was tough. My mind exploded.
Explosion! Well,
Yeah.
if we don't have much to analyze, we can switch to our staff lounge chat and allow everyone to come on in so we can celebrate our anniversary.
Can I say one thing?
Of course you
About the
can.
chapter?
Amazing narration, by the way.
Yeah, your narration was amazing,
Yeah, that was
Azeem.
good.
Thank you. Yeah. I think I really like that moment, finishing off the initial scene with Meili, where Meili is trying to hide her tears, but she can't, and everybody in the room knows it. I think that's a really interesting, continuation of the themes of Arc 4 specifically, where Arc 4 is very much about humanity in a lot of ways, and I think Elsa is a good example of that, right? Where it's Elsa's sense of humanity and her bond towards Meili is ultimately what does her in. And I like the idea that Meili is putting up an appearance over here, but really, it's very clear that she still cares about Elsa and is reeling from her death. Yeah.
I agree. It's so sad.
It's yeah. I can't wait for her to actually show up again, in the anime, because I want to see the scene done justice. Meili's a good character. She's a good kid.
She is.
Meili's great.
She's growing on me.
She comes
Hold on, kid.
she comes around. It's crazy.
Going from from committing murder to playing with stuffed animals.
It's a big jump.
We love that for her.
It's a really huge jump.
She's just an ordinary girl.
It's a good progression.
Oh, 100%.
Killing people before bedtime.
Also, Julius protecting miasma was interesting. I forgot that he did that. Or detecting something similar to miasma. That was interesting.
Could he always do that, or did Gluttony do that?
I don't know.
I think
Actually,
it's just because he's such a good spirits arts user that he can kind of maybe at least sense or understand changes in the atmosphere when it comes to mana. So like,
Maybe
if
it is
miasma
mana.
the
You're right.
case. Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
gonna be something he can easily recognize. I think.
It makes me
if he's
wonder
a
if like
royal
he was
guard.
able to see that in the capital, right? Like during the events of Arc 3, was he able to see that? That would have been interesting.
Yeah, that is possible. Honestly.
Did he ever mention that Subaru emits miasma?
Not that I recall.
No, maybe
Definitely not in the anime.
I think.
But in the novels, I haven't checked.
I think maybe that might be a purposeful decision from Julius then to not mention it.
Maybe. It'd be an
Yeah.
awkward conversation starter.
Well,
Hey,
because,
are
like,
you
it's-
a witch cultist by any
Yeah,
chance?
It's similar
Sorry.
to Reinhard in Arc 1, where he's like, this is my day off, so I don't have to arrest you, Felt. Except now I do. But for Julius, I think it's a thing of, if I take this too seriously and take this to higher ups, as it's my duty as a royal guard to investigate it further, and I don't
Oh.
want to doubt my friend. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, nice. Conscious.
And even during like the throne room scene, imagine Subaru going, "Are all you knights like really that a big deal?" And Subaru and Julius steps in and goes, "You smell like the witch." That would have been
the witch.
He would have been executed on the spot.
Yeah, maybe.
just makes Julius even more of a Giga Chad.
I love him,
Giga Chad. Boo, boo, boo.
especially later in this arc. He's
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. Very good.
It's a shame that he's an Ike man because he would have a giga chin.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I also want to apologize for the podcast rolling out. When we had that little bit of a hiatus between me bringing the lamp to my father, I was supposed to change the time when the podcast went up, and I forgot. But it's out now. Just a heads up for members, I will be
There it is.
posting the next one once it's done and completed. So members will have it first, and everyone else will get it next Friday. And thank you, Elias. Oh, and
Oh
thank
my
you,
god, it's the last
Corbo.
fun.
Oh, that.
Oh yeah, baby.
We're getting
Okay, well, I know what I'm gonna do right after we're done.
And hi, Willow.
Oh,
Hello,
yeah.
pal. Welcome, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. All right, I think now is a good time for us to switch to our staff lounge. So everybody, you're welcome to join us there so that the rest of the cast can join along.
Yeah.
Everyone at home, thank you for watching.
No, wait,
please-
we're still going. We're still going.
Yeah, we're still live. We're just changing the
Oh,
chat
awesome.
so people can
Okay, I was
join
about
us.
to say.
You goober?
Hey, at least I didn't use your lines.
Fuck you. And I'll
Classic. we just heard Wolf get cut off.
Whoa.
Hey, at least I did it.
Plan.
It was the last one standing.
The last we heard.
It was the last one.
Heroes.
Anyways, guys, my stomach was hurting the entire time I was doing that, so I think I'm gonna head out for now.
Oh, Gold, are you okay?
Good
Thank
luck
you
with your
all.
stomach.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Go get a new
Try
stomach. Go get
a
new stomach.
warm
We'll be
shower or a hot pack on your belly. It helps.
Yes.
Go take
Thank
care
you
of
very
yourself.
much.
And
And
I hope you feel
I'm
better
glad
soon.
you all were here today. And
Thank you, Gold.
4 years of Reverie, everybody.
Yeah!
Ooh.
Feel better, Gold.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Good luck.
Rough.
I can't believe he's gone. I can't believe he's dead. Oh.
Unfortunately,
Oh,
I do
too
not have a Jeopardy game for this year. We're prepping for Arc 6 instead.
Yeah, I was about
You
to
know
say.
what?
I think
That's
that's a
okay.
more
What a
bigger
waste
focus.
of resources.
Yeah.
Jeopardy game
Another
or
Jeopardy.
Arc 6.
The answer's obvious. Like,
Obviously, you got to pick the Jeopardy game, right? I mean, like Jeopardy
Yeah.
is so fun and awesome. Yeah, like
580.
You know, ReZero can wait, I think. I think ReZero's been waiting a long time. It can wait longer, you know?
Yeah, you know, like season 4 got pushed off. You know, why don't we just push it off here too?
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? It'd be perfect. We're going to do these first 3 chapters, and then we're going to give it like 5 years, and then we'll adapt the rest of Arc 6.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that would just
5-year
be
hiatus.
so you can the anticipation can really get into your bones, you know?
Yeah.
Ready.
And then when we do the Arc 6 officially, we'll do some like really interesting and really bad cuts of like content. Oh, that would be like a really good thing to do.
Love that.
Yeah.
Give
Let's just cut the
yourself
entirety of chapter 15.
be as ambitious as you can. Set the highest possible goals and be terrified of not reaching them and never do it.
Exactly. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, just
Let's
keep
go!
setting the bar higher.
Hello, Willow.
Hey, Willow.
Hello.
Yo, Willow.
Hello.
Also,
Willow.
Hello.
Hi.
It's been a long time.
It has. Welcome back.
how are you doing?
It's good. 4 years is crazy.
Yes, you are. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We are aging.
Everyone's growing up, and it makes me feel so old. And I'm happy you're still here, though, Willow.
Yeah.
Yay! All right. Well.
Aging.
Yeah. This whole. I was literally thinking about it yesterday. I was like, wait a minute. How long has this been? Oh no. Well, I'm getting really old. I don't like that.
Hey, technically, Studio Reverie has been around for less time than it took for Arc 5 to fully complete. Or not Arc 5, Arc 6.
Arc 6. Yeah.
True. You know what?
Oh,
That's good.
Yep.
You know, maybe we should take 5 years to complete it.
By rough estimates, we're gonna have it done within a year to a year and a half, which means, right, that we took the entirety of the existence of Studio Reverie took about as long as it took for Tappei to write Arc 6.
True.
Yeah, and then he wrote, what, Arc 7 in like 2 months or something?
No, Arc 7 was going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It
you
was
remember
just
how
never
fast?
any. There was just not. He wrote each chapter pretty quick after each other, but he took a lot of mini hiatuses along the way.
Ah, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
it was like a short. It was a bunch of short bursts. So even though it was like a year and a half or something like that in total, it was like he would make a bunch of chapters like one every 2 days or something, and then for like a week or two, and then he'd step off the gas for like a week or two, and then he'd come back.
It was assumed that it was when he was getting the light novels for whatever he had just finished writing published each time.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gojo. Thank you for the shout out.
Anything is possible. You just finished Arc 7 in like one day. Go on, you got this.
Well, not
And 9.
yet. Not yet. I'm only done Arc 6. I just started Arc 7. I got 4 chapters down with about an hour of reading time. So that's pretty good. Arc 6 I finished in 2 days. If I was not interrupted by like life, I would have probably finished it in a day. But life happens.
So it's possible that you catch up.
I really want to be done Arc 7 by tomorrow.
Oh wait, I know not that much.
Sorry.
I was about to say, there's no way you were done Arc 7 by tomorrow.
It is
I-
110 chapters, Kyles.
The second we're done, I'm just disregarding any responsibility I have, and I'm gonna read.
Speed
to
read,
eat,
do
don't
it.
need to sleep.
So
I don't.
you're gonna be so you're gonna be melee in this chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna be confined to your own little room. You're gonna do nothing but read.
Next
Yeah.
to my stuffies, absolutely.
Miss
So,
those
I
days.
can imagine like
being
being
able
like-
to do that.
It's my
Arc
last
7's
day before
so
March
long.
break is up, so I'm taking all the little tiny bits of freedom before I won't be able to continue.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Teaching
Good
is
luck, Kyle.
hard.
Yes, it is.
And then you
That's
save
why it
up
only
like
lasted a
few
year.
more.
Yeah.
You save up a few more arcs or a few more phases of backlog, and then the next break you get, you go through all of them again.
Exactly. My next break is Easter weekend. It's only a couple weeks away. Not bad, not bad.
Then you can get to Arc 9 at that point.
I want to catch up
Yes.
before they start up Arc 9.
Yeah,
Cute.
That's
Kyle was
isn't
just
that
made
next
a-
week?
Well, we have other things to do first.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah,
couple
okay,
other
true.
podcasts to work on first.
We got to do an arc 6 one. We gotta do...
I have to wait.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and each time Kyle's makes it through a new arc, they have to redo the podcast for that arc. Oh wait, okay, that's actually good.
It's
Like
okay. We'll
stalling,
just have a
okay.
arc 7 analysis day. It'll just be one, and I just explode, and they will just talk their points.
It's better to just let it be 7 and 8 together. So we'll have one for 6, one for 7 and 8, and then you'll be caught up.
Yeah.
But we have our April Fool's one coming too.
We do.
Secret.
We do. Secret April Fool's
and this time we
podcast
won't...
project on the way.
Yes, this year we won't fuck it up.
Hooray! I wonder what Tappei's release for April Fool's Day this year will be.
I hope it's another remix.
Cool.
Gender bent
Art
from 0
7.
speed.
Yeah, gender bent, or like school life again.
Come on, get us the envy one.
This is the envy route.
This is the envy route.
It's just the first freaking arc. He just reposts the first arc.
just drops the
and it's
first
arc.
Yeah.
I made one change, only one, and you gotta find it.
It's a single word.
Just
and then somehow it's incredibly relevant.
But he makes sure it's the most unedited draft of the first arc possible. Like, it's got so many typos and writing mistakes to drive people crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Excellent.
Oh,
Wait, wasn't in like a very early version of ReZero Wilhelm like a cab driver or something?
Oh.
I've heard
Maybe.
this before.
That'd be
But that is like crazy
Well,
early.
so like he was originally the chauffeur for the
He drove Felix to the camp.
Yes,
like,
exactly. For Felix and Krush in that camp, he was like their chauffeur rather than like a specific knight, because Felix was the knight.
Of course.
Is it one of those cases where he was like, he's a unique character, and then he eventually was like, I wonder if I could add more to this guy, and then it just spawned from there. It's one of those.
Apparently, fans were going crazy for him and wanted more, so he wrote the whole Teresia backstory and like his connection to the White Whale as an afterthought, and then added that in.
Let me just make the ballad.
Yeah.
You guys love this guy
I
so
love
much.
when
Here you
authors
go.
do that.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I
Like
bet
in
it was
a trilogy.
I bet it was off that one moment of him being like, I see death in his eyes, like I see things.
Those are the eyes that have
What does that
seen
mean
death.
for him? Oh.
Yeah, he did that for Wilhelm, and then when people said, "Yo, Rem is so awesome," he hit Rem in the head with a hammer. And that's really legit.
I don't
You're
want
not
more
supposed
years.
to like her this much, bunk.
Get this one out of here.
She was too strong of a buff for Subaru, and like all of his other buffs, they can't last long enough to be impactful to the main series because that goes against the character writing.
Yeah.
I just love
Unlike where everyone else can be cut off, she would stick to his side relentlessly.
Yeah. Arc 4 wouldn't be an issue if he had had Rem with him at all. Like it'd be resolved in 2 loops.
Really?
Yeah, no,
100%.
if you think about it, the whole thing with Otto was, hey, you're not gonna believe this shit. If Rem was there, she would have been like, oh yeah, no, okay, no, I trust you. Let's
Well, it
beat
would have just
Roswaal
been
to death with
like
the Morningstar.
Yeah, tell me what you need other people to do, and I will go and get the other people who need to do it.
Also, this is kind of a thing that I think is forgotten, but Rem likely had a very close relationship with Garfiel before she was eaten too. So Garfiel would have very much considered her opinion in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Shit, you're right. That's completely erased. We know nothing about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's great story.
God
Good
damn it,
story.
not me.
Damn
you.
Damn you, Tappei!
Literally, nothing made me angrier. No, I can't say it.
I was about to say, you can't say anything.
Spoil it.
You
just
can't
do
say
it.
that. Arc 6 spoiler, bam.
6. She was about to say a 7 spoiler.
Arc 7 spoiler. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
no, I was gonna say an Arc 6 one. It was Arc 6, I promise.
Really?
I was gonna complain
Okay.
about characters that keep coming in.
Yeah. I love that moment in Arc 6 where Emilia comes in and she fights Luffy. That was great. That was a great
Oh my god,
One
I
Piece
love
is
that. And then Goku showed up.
I can't believe Goku just like flexed and Reinhard dissipated into atoms. That was crazy.
Dude,
Oh,
when
so that's what we're
Saitama
calling him
came
now.
and like killed Flugel, oh my god.
Goku. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa,
I can't believe
I
Goku
didn't know how to
came
feel about the
in
moment
and
where
looked at
Chicken Fry
Subaru
shows
and
up.
said, "Hey, your depression's pretty strong. Let me fight it."
Hey,
it's me,
Why are you so sad,
What a
bro?
guy.
Anyway, guys, I think I have to head out.
That's
Okay.
totally fair.
See you guys.
Thank you, Unseen.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Unseen.
great narration.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Oh,
Bye.
wait, can I? Wait, actually, on that note, can I say one last thing
Of
before I go?
course you can. You don't need to ask.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say that, like, as a person who's been following this channel basically since the beginning, I'm really astonished. I think it's really inspiring how all of you are still here, still have this passion, doing this, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. And thank you for letting me be a part of this. And I hope I make you proud. And I hope I don't let you down. So yeah.
You have made us so proud. And
Thank you for your hard
You are
work.
so
doing
much. That means
so
a lot.
much with that laptop mic.
You did. Hey.
Yeah,
You're
Wait,
carrying it.
coming
far.
from Drad.
Yeah, actually, I am the authority in this case.
I was about to say, yeah, you're the authority in Skype setups, are you not?
Sounding real good.
Man, I actually share that sentiment.
I can't believe he's gone. I can't believe he's gone. Oh my god, we lost another.
Me
We're
too.
dropping like flies!
No one
We
can
have
approach
been.
my path.
Though I am
Oh my
technically a
God.
Nepo hire, so I don't know what
No,
that means.
higher. What do you mean?
What?
Well,
Hey,
technically,
Drad. Let me
Yeah?
let me pass you a 50. Let me pass you a 50.
good. I'll do anything for a 50.
20 quid
Yeah.
is 20 quid, innit?
Because I didn't technically audition for Heinkel. I was grandfathered in from before Reverie.
That's right! Yes!
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I was there. I was after Gold, actually. But before Kyle's, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was that
I-
little intermission period just before, right?
Yeah, just before.
Yes.
I voiced like 3 chapters of narration or something.
Now it's your turn to enact nepotism.
Yeah. Let's see my
A
contacts.
cycle of nepotism continues.
And it's why we're very excited to when we eventually do release the Arc 7 auditions when we get to that point. Because there's so many talented voices out there
Yes.
in the community.
Indeed.
You just don't know it yet, okay? I promise you there is a character for everyone. And if you've ever wanted to try voicing, especially in your favorite series, that is the opportunity when it comes out. Please have a look at it.
Hi. We'll be posting it probably at the end of phase 1, which is about
Yep.
18 chapters. So that should be happening around mid-May, if I calculated it right.
5 weeks? Yeah, 5 weeks roughly.
About 5 weeks. And so we'll see it then. We'll post it. Of course, we're going to let our cast audition first internally, but we're going to make sure that everyone gets the opportunity to audition as well. So you guys can join in then. We'll have a video posted. We'll make a CCC. It'll take about a month to do the audition. So keep your eyes peeled. Middle of May.
Yeah, that's the hope.
I can't wait for the 5 million Vincent auditions.
I mean,
Yep.
it's Vincent.
Bless you.
You got it. It's like it's gonna be the filters are gonna be for Todd and Vincent.
Yeah.
Mine venerable self.
I didn't
What a
think
rhyme.
about Todd, huh? That's
And if
funny.
you have a femme voice, we are always looking for femme voices.
There's so many. Oh my god.
There's so
Let's
many.
take
Please
anyone.
help us.
There's so many
Please.
in our 7. Help!
If you're a gym
They
bro
only
who can
can't be
get your voice
everyone.
down, come on and just whatever.
Yeah.
DLD can't be everyone.
Save the community for more of my outrageous accents.
We don't care who you
Comment,
are.
Aldi.
We care about what you have to offer.
Yes.
Yes.
Save us. Save us all.
Save us from ourselves, please.
There's so much dialogue. There's so many lines.
There's so many women just off the bat too. It's just hey, here's exclusively women for this arc. Ah!
Oh Jesus, you're right.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Yep, here's an entire phase of just women. Ah!
Yeah, no, I just
Please
remembered
don't
the
let me have
tribe.
the
Yeah.
flashbacks to the old days.
Oh
Save
fuck, we're in
me.
deep shit. Sorry, pardon the profanity.
Oh, it's
Nah,
okay.
it's
I've been
fine.
swearing like crazy.
What's your
It just occurred to me the weight of this.
Oh.
Strips they would be for 7 and 8.
Yes.
Fun
Primarily.
fact, I still have never heard from him again.
Oh, that guy?
Rip.
Yeah,
All
it's
that
been like
work.
over a year and a half.
I'm so
It's so
sorry.
over.
The
Frick.
last
so
message
over.
he gave me, I think, was asking if I'd be comfortable appearing on camera. I said no, but if he still needs narration, reading or anything
Yeah.
done, I'll do it. And then nothing.
Shut down. Wrong answer.
Wow.
Apparently it was.
It's like Wilhelm cutting off Reinhard. Wrong answer. I ghost you for like 4 years.
You're so
Correct.
Hi, Gojo.
Hey,
Hello.
Gojo!
Hey, Gojo.
Well,
how's
that's
it going?
Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Welcome
Yeah, sorry.
on
Just-
in.
Just wanted to pop in and say hi. I have to drive back to my campus today.
Oh no. Look at you, college mans.
Yeah, I've been
How are you
busy.
enjoying?
Everyone's growing up.
Coding's
I
very
remember
hard.
when you were in
Very
high
hard.
school.
Coding does suck.
It's so
Yeah.
rewarding, though. It's so rewarding.
True.
For like 1 minute.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
1 minute's like
Until something
such,
new
breaks.
it's such a high. There's no other
Yeah.
word like it.
It's
yeah.
like, holy moly. I have peaked in life. There's nothing else I could do that would be
Makes
greater than
calculator.
this.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
and
more infuriating.
And then you
than
hit another
being
bug,
bugged.
and then you want to die
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Oh, good feelings gone.
Yeah.
Yes! Yeah! It's so over.
Jover.
It's Jover.
The
Yeah.
journey.
It's Jover.
It's over. It's
Yeah.
over.
Sorry I
joke.
couldn't join for the anniversary because I was with my parents for spring break.
I mean,
No
you have
apologies
now.
necessary.
This is the
You're
anniversary
here.
part.
Yeah, you're the you're
This
here.
was the official anniversary. You've made it.
How
Yeah.
does it feel to be here?
Well done.
Amazing. You're breathtaking.
Wow.
You're breathtaking.
We both answered in the same exact way. Okay.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
It's not
yeah.
that bad.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not that bad. I think it's like 5 women, which is still pretty bad, but it's not like horrendous. Or is it
Kyles,
6?
you're up for
Oh
it,
my
right?
god, it might be.
Isn't there a
In
lot
phase
of, like,
1, there's
fine.
7.
It's fine.
And, like off the
There
bat.
is 7. Oh my.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, hold on.
In
You
phase
have
one.
you have two sisters, a background, and a kid.
Do
Sorry,
we have
sorry,
like
6.
gender statistics for this
Yeah,
chat?
it's 6.
audience?
Yeah.
Time to bring up the stats.
No, I'm serious
All right,
here.
guys.
Like,
Female voice filter.
If we have to do it, we have to do it.
Don't make me
technology.
voice all of Subaru's little girls.
Look,
So
he only
many.
adds 2 more, and one of them's only temporary.
One of them's like she's there for a bit. You know, it's like the temporary NPC you get.
Oh, the mission specific one.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one
Exactly.
that's higher level than the rest of you to help you get through the really tough scenario.
She also
then
feels
it's
like she
okay,
belongs in
well,
a
good
different
luck,
anime.
bye.
Yeah, and then she's like, "All right, I know you gotta fight like Satan, but I gotta go. Like, I gotta go.
I'm
like,
not about
fix my
that
garden.
fight, so later.
You know, I gotta go like water my plants. You know, take out the trash. I'll be over there. Just
I got
you can
stuff.
see me on the street, but I won't be helping.
Yeah. You can never talk to me again.
Pretty much, exactly. There's a lot of characters I'm excited to cast for that more than anything. I just want to hear them like speak for the first time.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fucking cool.
And it will be for the first time.
Yeah, it will.
Like Groovy Gumlet.
I'm
there-
half tempted
there-
to pick literally the worst audition for that character.
Yes.
genuinely.
It would
Yes.
be so funny. It would- like you either pick the highest or the lowest or just the most off-putting voice.
I'm so
there's
curious
no other
what
option.
you're talking about.
Oh.
It's just it's almost like a gag character. It feels like
Wait, is it the mouse guy? No.
Yeah, it's the mouse guy.
He's
really?
a hyena guy, but yeah.
Oh, of course. Sorry, I only saw the art. Gotcha.
It would be a hyena.
He needs a tremendously deep voice.
He also needs someone who's not afraid to swear constantly, unnecessarily.
Oh, I love swearing.
I
Oh,
know a
yeah.
guy.
I'm
What do you
awake.
mean every
Yeah,
swear
it's
word is a
me.
very necessary word? Thank you very much.
I know a guy. It's me.
I'm the guy.
Of course I know
See,
a guy.
There's someone I know, and he I think he's perfect for the job.
may just be me.
And just
This
my
is where
real name on the
this is where we
audition.
get the Heinkel voice again on Groovy.
Hey yo.
Ah, groovy, right?
Strips, that character's already been cast because they appear elsewhere.
Oh yeah, true. True.
That's funny, but it's true.
They should like make a soundboard for it. Honestly.
Yeah, same thing I'm doing with Patrash. Just
Same thing with Patrash.
effort is for pansies. Yeah.
Oh man.
It'll be a blast, but we got to get through most of phase 1 of Arc 6 first. We'll post the auditions up, so we can. That way, we know we have a consistent way forward for Arc 6.
Hi.
Guys, can I voice the wind?
You can be the wind.
Can I voice the wind?
You want to be the wind? You can be the wind. If you want to be a cloud, you can be a cloud.
Here's my wind audition. Okay, here's my wind.
There will be a
pretty good.
That was great. There'll be points later on where it's just a bunch of characters who aren't even named in the background, where it's going to get every single voice actor to just cheer like hype sounds over and over, and we'll just overlay the whole thing together.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun, like the process of making it all.
Let's start an a cappella group.
We wanted
that's a
some
different
insert
chapter.
songs.
Holy.
No, let's just a cappella the whole soundtrack. They won't DMCA us if it's just us.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, you.
Oh, well, sure.
Yeah.
What if we make our own?
That's why we have to make it bad. You know, it can't be.
We're struggling with getting backgrounds first before we even consider music.
Oh yeah.
I can get a hold of a kazoo in like a week.
Oh, we have Kazoo Man in the chat. Hold up.
I have a cello.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we do.
We enlisted Kazoo Man, who specializes in kazoo covers, specifically ReZero-1. So we send his.
Oh yeah.
Is that the same guy who's obsessed with Ricardo?
I don't
Awesome.
think so.
I don't think so.
I don't
Wait,
think
there are
it's
two
that
guys
guy.
obsessed with Ricardo.
And
that I
they're
know of.
legendary.
Of course I know one of them. One of them's me.
Evan's kazoo covers. I don't think he's obsessed. I don't think so. He's in our. He works with us. There we go.
I wish I had learned the accordion.
Me too.
Okay,
I have
gotta-
one actually, but
I have a question.
Hi.
Hi.
Out of all of Arc 6, without spoilers, what chapter are y'all looking forward to?
The
chapter
most.
number. Yeah, the most.
54, I think it was.
I don't remember the chapter numbers, but as soon as
It's the
first
title
number
drop
that came into
chapter.
my head is 54. Okay, I was
Yeah.
correct.
It was the title
It's been
drop.
years.
Yeah.
I'm
you're
gonna
not
fact check
listening.
myself.
Same.
Let's see.
I would have to say
I'm read.
15.
50.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I was gonna say.
Yes,
After
okay.
what I went through.
I'm excited to see how we.
Great time.
Yeah.
Suffer with me.
There's so many good chapters.
There's
It's
so
like,
many
what,
good chapters. The
I think
15
mine-
54.
I think 61 is probably the one I'm looking forward to most.
Oh
for obvious
yeah.
reasons.
Oh yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
know.
Yes.
And
the transition state for all of
then
this.
there's all of 73 to 75.
Literally
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
Peak.
all of those chapters, 15. Like it's really hard for me to place a chapter I'm more excited to voice because the scary thing is with this arc in particular is this is gonna be the like Arc 5.
It's gonna be
doesn't
your
have-
it's gonna be your test, yeah.
Yeah, because Arc 5 is not a very big emotional range for Subaru in comparison to the rest of these arcs that I've read so far. So it's gonna be a harder challenge for me, which is exciting but also kind of nerve-wracking, you know?
Hey, if you can get past this, you can get past anything.
That's
The
true.
real test is the real test. The first immediate test is 15, I think.
Yes.
In terms of like 1 degree of the spectrum, and then the other degree is like around chapter 40,
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
and then it's all the way up to like 60 and 70. So those are the big testers.
I think Wolf got this.
Oh, thank you.
I believe in you.
Wolf is more concerned with the range of voices he'll have to do for 7.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
no. Well, at least it's not Liliana.
That's true.
Don't
That's
jinx it
progress.
because she could always come back.
Yeah, she's still alive. Can always show back up.
You know,
Damn
you know what? You know what's crazy? I think she can appear now, like around now.
I agree.
yeah,
I don't
you're
think
right.
it's impossible that she shows up.
Oh,
Are you kidding me?
No.
It's the perfect time.
Yeah, if you think about it, like the direction they're going, I'll be
Yep.
vague about it, but the direction they're headed, you know,
Yes.
like she can show up again. So, she might show up. She might show up this arc.
Be
You
cool.
know, the anime made me love her, but I will never forgive her for what she did to me.
Like, I swear to God, if Tappei just goes, "Hey, here's another Liliana perspective chapter." Oh!
We're skipping it.
Yeah, but
You're
what if
not
they
gonna
do it
voice
like what if they do it like that one named chapter early on in arc 8 and it's just a joke and it cuts off because they cut her head off?
I think I know
Spoiler.
what you're referring to.
I have not read that far. and
No,
that is
that's not an actual thing. There is
No.
a chapter that's written as a joke, and I'm suggesting to do the same for killing Liliana.
You know what? Wait, I know what. I think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can
just
find the
the
right
idea of having
number.
any chapter as a joke is really funny, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's like the frustration part when you're writing. Like you're just getting sick of something and you just like write a whole bunch of garbage just to get something out, and you have no intention of it being in the final draft. But then you save
Fuck
it.
it, I'm just gonna kill him.
And later on, you just chuck it out.
Yep.
I've done that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it's arc 8. You said chapter 7. I think that's the one that you're referring to. I think.
Probably.
Yeah,
Was it
that
early?
made me laugh when I read it. I just burst out laughing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yes, it is that one. That's what we're doing.
Yes,
Do the
yes,
same
yes.
for another Liliana one, and it
That one
just
was
ends
awesome.
with
That one
like
was
a
awesome.
head slice.
Oh,
Well, then
Exactly.
Liliana
Strips
was-
the goats chapter.
I just read it. I just read the chapter, and it's excellent.
Oh man.
What in the?
Elias, that's going to be a good one when we get to it later in 6 as well. Murder becomes a
Hold
habit.
on, I'll be right back.
Oh, I'm so excited
Oh,
for
yeah.
Murder Becomes a Habit.
Oh yeah, murder becomes a habit. Ooh.
That has to be
Ooh,
one
Murder
of the
Becomes a Habit.
hardest chapter names of all time in ReZero.
Mm-hmm.
The 7th one.
Murder
Becomes a habit.
Oh yeah, that's good. I really
Yeah,
like arc
it's-
6.
Especially how much like the themes of that chapter get continued in 7. Like you can feel the prevalence of it. It's just so fucking good.
Really, I have to reread 7
Yeah.
at some point. It's been years.
7 was
been a
better the
fun-
second time around. Significantly better the second time around.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Because you're not like, because you know where the story's already going, so you're not distracted by all the shit that's happening randomly.
You're not impatient for what you want because you can already. So it lets you sit back and appreciate everything that's there. Like,
Yeah,
if you
also,
go through
there's
the
no, like,
podcasts,
random
my
highlights.
reactions on all of them are just constantly, I can't believe how good this was in hindsight. I can't believe how good this was in hindsight. I hated this the first time.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the anger initially was because of the hiatuses.
Yeah.
I feel that just spread out, and then people were getting really, really frustrated.
Same with arc 6, really. I think that's just been forgotten.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With all the discussion of everyone saying, like, oh, they're going to fuck up arc 6 in the anime. Oh, it's going to go so poorly. People don't remember how like much those chapters were not liked when they were coming out.
Yeah.
Like, it was heavily
Even
panned
at the-
until hindsight.
Even at the final hiatus, I think the last hiatus around chapter
79.
79?
Yeah, 79. I remember people being they were trashing it.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't.
And it
well
was
liked.
just in hindsight, it's just why.
Which is
I mean-
why, you know, like I'm really excited for what I hope one day will actually be an arc 6 anime adaptation that's coming, and it's
Yeah.
not just Cope. But I like to put your disagreements or your criticisms of small decisions made in season 3 and then placing that as what's going to happen to the entirety of arc 6 is very short-sighted in my opinion.
Yeah, that's not.
I mean, the direction of the first like couple loops in season 3 gives me faith completely.
Yeah,
same.
And like the amount they were willing to go with those first loops.
Yes, how
Right,
hard
like-
they're willing to go, how much they're willing to, up the ante, reduce the censorship. That gives me hope. So
Yeah,
I
'cause
don't. I
the
think
worry
for
with
any-
chapter 15 was the censorship, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Do we have any clue when?
When it should come out?
Yeah, Arc 6, the anime. Was it
It
like
should
delayed?
be.
No,
It should be
it's
like late this year or.
There
Okay,
is
got it.
zero official information for it. Everything and
True.
everyone who says, "Oh, our season 3 is going to have 30 whatever episodes," or they're
Yeah,
doing
that
5
was-
and 6, is exclusively based off of a poster that they released when they announced Arc 5 being animated that had art from the Arc 6 light novel covers on it.
It had Jala on it.
Yeah,
and
okay,
everyone blew up.
So everyone assumed that it was going to be the same thing. It was meant to be a different anniversary celebration poster, unrelated to the season.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Yeah.
we've all been
wait,
assuming
really?
it constantly. Yeah, 100%. It was released as an anniversary for the series and the celebration they were doing at that convention, not the actual panel that they were doing to announce the season.
Thank you, ACC, by
And
the
then,
way.
correlation.
Yes, thank you so much. We love you.
Must
and
have
on
fun.
our way to Lust. 60%, y'all.
We're so close.
Wait, we're at.
Wait, we're doing a return? It's the return of Lusted?
The
Philip.
correction of Lustiff.
The correction, yes.
The great and ostentatious return.
Removal of Felt, removal of Petra. We're gonna rewrite 2 sections.
That sounds
Re-Lust.
excellent. That's great.
I'm glad you love it.
We won't be locked up.
He put
One
sort of
big
watch
happy
list this time.
family.
Going back on the release and like the negative reception to like Arc 6 and 7, it's really funny going to like the Witch Cult translation comments from time to time.
Yes,
when
it
you're going
is.
back and rereading.
Yeah.
Because some of them are like really deranged. Some of them are just strict. I hate this. Where's Rem? So, some of them is like, hold on. This person's name is Authority of My Ass. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
I trust him.
I trust that man.
I am like
This guy, I
80% sure
trust
that
him.
he is a troll that works for Witch Cult just to get engagement on their like comments and
I
everything.
know.
That's really smart.
That's a
if so.
conspiracy theory right there.
I love that conspiracy theory. I'm here for it.
I love some of these guys so much.
Yeah, some of
Is
the
it-
comments I have read have been genuinely insane. Like, it's like, this is the worst piece of fiction I have ever read. How dare character arcs regress and change? And I'm like, excuse me? That's the whole fucking point!
People
And
don't
others
change.
are just Others
Yeah,
are just
others
so
are
unhinged that it's the point
okay.
of, I wish Vincent would look at me the way he's looking at Subaru right now. Oh my god. And then it does like a
Hey.
disgusting face.
Yeah. Okay. So, have you? Okay. I'm assuming. Okay. Wait. Wolf and Connor, have you guys scrolled down on the chapter with the big twist in Arc 8 with the
Yeah.
comments? Because I was rereading it. I was like so sad, and then I scrolled down to the comments, and it's I don't want to sniff this character's feet.
Yeah.
I love those comments. There's always like 12.
There's always someone there to make sure that your deep and raw emotions are ruined, you know?
Like, I'm grieving right. I'm so sad right now. My brain is exploding. I want to
Brain
snip the.
trembles.
Catharsis.
Oh man, I love the comments. I just hope they never stop, honestly.
Elias, thank you. Please make sure you have enough money of your own first.
Yeah, everyone, remember, this is like a joke thing that exists.
Yeah.
It was released as an April Fool's prank and deleted the next day. Like, we'll do it for fun, but it's honestly just to see how, let's say, thirsty the audience is for this, rather than an actual like goal of raising
See-
$1,000.
Well, the reason I'm doing this is to pay for the fact I'm going to spend so much time on this sound effect, on the actual editing. Like, this is going to be a 24+ hour project for me. It's going to be perfection for you.
I'm going
Money
to
has
write
not
the
gone
script
to waste.
almost from scratch to recorrect it and get
Yes.
everything possible.
Thank you, Elias. I'll adjust what
It's
we got.
it's been a crazy 4 years, eh? Like, we've come so
Sure has.
far. There,
3 times.
yeah, like
3 times.
it's crazy. We're here in Arc 6 now. We're going strong, and we have like plans for the future. The podcast has been going great. Like,
Yes.
it's been a really fun time to work on Reverie.
I'd argue
Sure
the
has.
podcast brought us back to life. Because for a little while,
So back.
I
We're
was
so
like, oh God, what do we do? What do we do?
Personally, the podcast is
Talk about
amazing.
ReZero.
True.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've worked hard to make sure that the podcast has good ideas every week.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
You also write lists on what to discuss during them?
It's more of because the vast majority of the ones we recorded were ones that I knew ahead of time, like everything about them. I had a general idea of here's what we should discuss, here's what we should talk about. But then some of them are also just we need a break. I'm going to set up one for here's the side content that you need for Arc 7, or let's do the EX novels here, or let's have a political presidential debate between all the candidates for the Throne of Lagunica.
Yeah.
Bye,
Crystal
Common.
Swallows.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Common. Thank you. Get some sleep.
See ya,
Great
Common.
work.
Enjoy solo leveling.
So I have one set up with a friend that's like every single time a chapter drops, we just throw our heads at each other for like a good hour or so, and like
Sounds
when
like it
reading the
hurts.
chapter, yeah, it really hurts, honestly.
Imagine it would.
But like when reading through the chapter, I usually keep a list of things that either harp back on previous stuff or things that I think can happen later. And then we end up just ballooning and talking about it for like an hour and 30 minutes each time.
As you should.
Yeah, some of the podcasts upcoming to be released are like the length of a feature-length movie, like genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
How long did we record last night? 3 hours?
It was 3 hours, yeah.
And you only stopped because of a tornado warning.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, my house was. My neighborhood was in a tornado, so I had to like cut our conversation, and say like, "Hey, this has been great." Immediately after, it was like, "Okay, I'm in a tornado. I'm gonna go. Bye."
That was the craziest fucking drop. Like, it went from like, oh, sorry guys, we need to wrap this up quick. I was like, oh shit, okay. By the way, tornado warning. Bye. I'm like, what the fuck?
The last time I ever. Bye.
Because to me,
Yeah,
tornadoes
you're
are
getting
like such a new
sucked up.
thing. So I'm like terrified. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna die. Oh my god, I've killed him. Ah.
Yeah, you just hear a slight fade. We're like,
Pretty much.
You just hear crash.
Crash, bang, boom.
Storm ended up flooding my side yard and caused a hole in my basement window that left like an inch of water down there. I'm gonna have to go clean up later.
Oh.
Cry.
Mickey, I'm so glad that the podcast was a good part of your Arc 7 experience. I think it made Arc 7 better for me in hindsight by doing the podcast.
yeah, like discussing everything going forward is always so. It always feels so good when you're right too, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Mhm.
If it's also just so validating because there is very little time we disagree on the podcast, and when we do, it's like a really good informed discussion. But a lot of the time, we're just like, "Yeah, this was awesome," or "Yeah, this was shit," wasn't it?
There's two specific points where like I really, really disliked this and almost dropped Arc 7 because of it. And when we get to them, these two are also this wasn't very good, worst part of the arc so far, and the amount of validation I felt. It's in the middle phase, right before the big like shift happens, like the big major event. That's in the center.
Yeah, I know
And
that was a.
It's one of the characters who joins them. Like we get her point of view for like 3 chapters, and I hated it. I hate her so
that was
much.
kind of a stinker, kind of a massive stinker.
So I'm
It's
hoping we
okay.
cast someone amazing to player, and it's gonna make me change my mind.
Yeah, it's gonna
on her.
change my mind. It's gonna make me change my mind. It's gonna be peak. Okay.
Just like with Liliana.
Yes, you know, my beautiful voice
Frickin'
enchanted everyone. You know. That's definitely
Someone in
what
the
we're talking
chat asked us who all we are most excited to see for Arc 6 coming up, though.
I posted mine. Scorpion.
Mine is your alter ego, Kyle's.
Who is my alter ego?
The one that you have linked in the description.
Yeah.
To your Twitch page.
Oh. Oh yes, I'm
I'm
a
really
VTuber.
excited to see Drad voice that character. I won't lie. Drad, your voice is so perfect for the sort of like this sort of stuff. I'm just excited to hear it. It's gonna be gonna
Big
hit
guy.
I'm
In Arc
excited
6,
to
yeah?
edit it. Yes.
Yeah, Arc 6, yeah.
I
Yeah, the
wonder
big
how
guy.
how many layer effects you will need to add.
So
I
We'll
will
just have
push
you
myself.
send in all of your takes, and then we'll play them over simultaneously.
You know, that's actually not a terrible idea.
That's what they did for
For real.
Sean Schemmel with Ultra Instinct Goku in
Oh.
Dragon Ball Super.
Interesting. Yeah, I could do that.
Actually, that would set a good precedent for later on, too, I think.
yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hi.
All right. Yeah,
Hello.
just out of respect to the chat, I will be voicing 3 Heinkels at the same time. That's
Yeah, it's 3 Heinkel.
3 Heinkels at the same time.
triple Heinkel.
Triple
Did you know
threat.
Heinkel could clone himself? I'm sorry.
Triangle.
You know,
Yes, that's why he was
Triangle.
meant to be the protagonist of ReZero.
you know the hero, the sage, and the dragon. They're actually all Heinkel.
Yes, 3 people, same time, all Heinkel. Yeah,
The witch is
Mickey,
also
Mm-hmm.
Heinkel.
indeed, everyone is Heinkel.
If you really think
I'm
about it, everyone is
Heinkel.
Heinkel deep down.
No, I'm Heinkel.
Ankle
No.
all the way down.
No, that's Heinkel. It's not me. Sorry. I want to live.
I wanna live.
I genuinely
so
cannot
excited.
wait for you guys to get to the to catch up on the podcast, because from my experience with my friend, you can literally do a podcast based off of every new chapter that releases, because it changes. Every new chapter changes your theories so much.
Yep.
And then, like, you can be 2 chapters in, and then your theory from 2 chapters ago was correct, and it's, and then it adds something new that you didn't think about. It's, I'm stupid.
Yeah, like part of it, what I think we're going to plan to do is the 2 phases of 9 have already come out. So we're going to record those as we have for everything else. And then going forward, instead of doing full podcasts, we might just record shorter, like 10, 15-minute videos and just
Yeah.
put them out as they get released.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, for the huge bomb chapters, it can be
Yep.
up to a full hour again.
So I'm sure he's not done with those.
Heck no.
I know
We
he's
desperately
not.
need it now at this point because me and Gold have extrapolated like every like nugget of information I think we could have gotten out of Arc 7 and Arc 8 with our over analysis.
You've bleeded it dry.
Like our theories that we've just it was like we're like Martin Luther. We've nailed them to the church door, and they basically haven't changed for the past couple phases at all.
Yeah, I don't think mine have either. I think like the 7 and 8 ones have remained set.
Only reinforced so far.
Yeah,
from
only
it.
reinforced more from Arc 9.
One of them
getting
is your
so
theory,
much more
Kyle's, by
information.
the way.
What?
One of them is your theory, by the way.
Oh.
The one that you have after 6. I think that is still probably true.
6. One after 6. Shoot, you're gonna have to DM me.
The one about Kenichi.
Oh yes, good, excellent. I have many
Excellent.
theories on that.
Oh.
Chat is also asking how we're going to handle the village accent from Arc 7. That's going to be something we discuss on the best way to do it, because there's just not a good English equivalent
No,
for it.
there's not. Unfortunately.
All right, everyone, let's get French.
Yeah, I mean,
Oui.
randomly jumping into an accent in the
minute.
last 2 words isn't the worst idea, so we'll just have to figure it out.
That's
God,
Or
they're
just pick a
French.
couple words that are pronounced just a bit off, maybe Old English or something. We can't experiment with this.
Yeah,
There-
maybe
there
like
would be a
up
good
pitch
solution.
it or have them sing a take and then switch it. It'll be weird, but we'll figure it out.
But it can be good weird. This is
Problem for
achievable.
future us.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Simply don't think about it. Simply don't think. They can't hurt you if you don't think.
Exactly. If you don't
That
think...
is the real message of ReZero, right? If you just don't think about anything, it's going to be all fine and dandy.
Isn't that like Garfield's whole mindset that Rom tells him? It's like stop thinking in the fights and
Yes,
just
it
act.
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
kind of
that's how
boring.
you get Vincent to come and animate you. You just
Garf.
no
Stop
thoughts,
thinking,
head
it hurts
empty
you.
when you fight.
Yeah. Be an empty canvas for the animators.
Mm-hmm. We're just gonna Mortal Kombat your arms in the middle of the fight. You'll be fine.
I can't wait for the Chansard cut if we get one in 6, because there are like select few fights that it could be, and
I hope it's Rom's. I hope it's Rom's so much. That's
Me
my
too.
favorite- That's my favorite
Me
action
too.
of the whole series.
I think that's the one that can get done the most justice by him.
That's badass.
Yeah, Swedish chef them, Elias. A bad idea.
Swedish.
But just the
Give
last
each
two
one a
words.
different accent, actually.
That is also an idea.
Match the hair color to flag color.
Oh my god.
Everyone was patterned
Alright.
after their country of accent origin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're red, white, and blue. Okay, you're French.
No, yeah, Mazelda, you'll be British for the red, or Austrian maybe.
Austrian.
We'll have your sister be Swedish, and we'll go from there. Which country has a pink flag?
German.
Pink
None.
flag. I don't.
Or maybe like a micro country somewhere, an enclave.
Yeah, it would be
I'd
like a
pick
micro
India.
country somewhere, I imagine.
Yeah, it'd be small.
Maybe
Let's
was there
see.
something in like the Tibet region? I almost remember something. Let me.
There is a tiny bit in the Spanish flag, a tiny bit, like a infinitesimally small bit, but it's there.
That counts. All right, so Spanish for the kid.
Yep, Spanish, of course.
Gorbo, I mean, Garf has been the shonen hero so far, but I think he might get upstaged by a more shonen-esque character later on. We'll have to see.
Yes.
Whoa.
Oh, Jimmy Blades.
Sister.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Can I just say, I have to throw appreciation out to season 3 right now, by the way. I've been enjoying watching season 3 so much. It's been such a good anime experience. Like, in terms of elevation for a novel to anime experience, it's been, like, elevated for me.
Yeah. Like, the
It needed to
worry
be an
was
anime.
after season 2. The worry was after season 2. But the action, and they delivered.
Sure have. I mean, that was one where it was just the whole point was like this was written to be animated, rather than a lot of the other ones.
I mean, they followed the choreography to pace it up for the Kurgan fight exactly. It's just, it transfers a lot better when you can
One-to-one.
visually see it in stunning animation than,
Mhm.
oh, he used his right hand from his fifth arm to deflect his teeth.
Yeah, he deflects that, and then and then two pillars. Okay, he's holding those two pillars. Okay, two more pillars. He's holding those pillars. Oh, okay, and he's standing there. It's
So
like
there's
stage
pillar A
directions.
and pillar B. He throws pillar B while deflecting with pillar A. Shit. Writing fight scenes must be difficult.
It is. It's
It is,
extremely
it's so
difficult.
hard.
Yeah.
You also have to keep the tempo.
Yeah.
Is the main part.
Because you can describe them pretty easily, but you'll get like 20 pages of just like chess moves, essentially.
It's all about
Yeah,
finding
each
the
one's
right
way to the
balance
right.
between leaving out as much information as possible that the reader can already interpret and making sure you have specific details that add a cool image in their head.
Yeah. And that make certain fights less impressive than others, but
Yeah.
as long as they're more parsable, then that's a good thing.
I mean, his ability to write fight scenes has also improved
Oh,
dramatically in
significantly.
7 and 8.
Significantly.
Like they're fun
Got arc
now.
7 and 8.
It just took him 7 years.
Yeah.
He figured it out.
Hey, he took time to improve, okay, you know. 7 years, maybe like what? A good 12th of your life, time well spent.
ReZero was the first anime I watched legally, allegedly.
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 You can't prove
Of course,
anything.
yeah. Sorry, it has to be allegedly. You know,
Yes.
we can't put you in jail.
You
Wouldn't
can't.
steal a car.
You can't.
You wouldn't download a car.
I would.
Excuse you. I work at like federal level 3D modeling. So I absolutely would download a car. I have, and jets.
And I will.
Do you actually, Connor?
Pop me.
Yeah, I work for the flight simulators for Boeing. Just like we handle flight simulators for F-15, F-18, F-22.
Why do they keep crashing?
That's awesome.
Because the commercial side is not run by the people who are funded with billions of dollars from the government.
Damn it!
So they keep outsourcing to other people, and it does not work out well.
Awesome.
Oh.
But a technology side.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, the tech side is baller. It's just, if you pay a third-party company to install all the doors and they add extra holes to the door, and you don't know that they do that, then stuff can go wrong.
The plane explodes. Okay.
And then
Well, the plane's
third-party
exploding is
company-
because they fired the air traffic controllers.
Oh, yeah. Great. Awesome idea.
It's a cascading problem.
It's a cascading effect of small things going wrong.
The stuff I work on is just cool. I basically get to work in Cerebro every day. Like, genuinely. It's awesome.
Piracy becomes a habit.
Piracy does become a habit.
Oh, yeah.
Please support the official release.
Please.
True.
I mean, I do, but...
Brad, I better not catch you writing on walls.
I don't write on walls. I've never defaced anything.
Never in
Good.
my life.
I have a whole bookshelf full of the light novels in order, guarded by a figure of Rem and a plush of Betty.
Awesome. I have 3.
Huge Betty plush.
It's a good Betty plush, too. I love it.
I actually couldn't find any when I went to Japan and just searched through stores. I only found Rem and Ram plushes, bizarrely.
There were so
But
many at
most,
AX.
You have so much at AX.
Mm.
I think it's also
Bye,
specific
Andrew.
places you have to go.
Bye, Andrew.
Bye, Andrew.
Bye, Andrew.
Bye.
Wait, hi, Andrew.
Wait,
I hope you
why
had
are
a
we saying
great
bye?
day.
Why you said hello?
Sorry. Hello.
Hi, Andrew.
Andrew's just like, guess all.
That's crazy.
Come on.
Kid that tells him to kill
Politest.
himself to start over. Does it.
The politest way to be extremely rude to someone.
Hi,
You're welcome.
Bye.
No, but funnily enough, I gotta start hitting off myself.
Actually, we should
Okay.
wrap up anyways. It's been like almost 4 hours now. But
Yeah, this is about the time we
Minions
planned.
are getting restless downstairs.
oh
I need
yes,
to
we immediately hear them
perfect
scream.
timing.
Yep. Yeah, their patience has run out.
Understandable. Thank you
Who's
everyone
touched
for
some-
being here for our 4th anniversary. We loved having you, and we will see you again next week. We should be performing every week, Saturday at noon EST, for the rest of Arc 6. So we'll see you next week, and we'll see you for our reaction of the newest episode of Season 3 on Wednesday.
It really is bye, Andrew. I'm sorry,
Now it's
Andrew.
bye, Andrew.
We're sorry.
Bye-bye.
It was so awkward we all
Mean it.
left.
Yeah.
This has been amazing. We will see you next week.
Face